The transformation is complete, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined by my co-hosts, Lorne and Bruce. And guys, we are on Sonic Comics, specifically Sonic number 131, and we cannot ignore it anymore.
This looks like Knuckles comics to me.
It does, and as much as I've been saying I want them back so the Knuckles stories can fuck off to their own comics, it's a little scary.
Well, and they're
Well,
not doing that, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
From Merlin's crystal ball on this cover bursts forth Mobius 25 years later.
Oh boy.
Ken Penders is back with his magnum opus, under his definition. The genesis point of the Lara Sue Chronicles, and one of the most infamous plot lines in the comics.
They're ready. It's going to be great.
No, it's
Or
not.
terrible.
I didn't mean in a good way.
Yeah, it's not going to be great in a good way.
Weird way.
Exactly.
Indeed. But first, we will start with the normal story, which is the latter three parts. Well, I guess those aren't all in the same issue, but we're doing the rest of Home this week, and that's the better half of this.
Yeah.
Starting with part 2 of 4, The Gathering, Ballers and Ron Lim. Everyone frantically plans and moves out tactics to save Knothole from nuclear destruction by the hand of Robotropolis, New Megaopolis, or Station Square. There's 3 different things that could irradiate us to death.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's great.
So yeah, our first, there's going to be, as Lauren said last time, there's a lot of moving pieces in this arc.
Right.
So our first team that we're going to be following is Sonic and Tails heading for New Megaopolis.
That's why they are heading for New Megaopolis.
Yeah, and in the meantime, everyone else is going to fight the robot horde trying to break the Robotropolis bubble.
I don't know why specifically I like this, but I like that our heroes have split up into 2 teams with very separate goals. So
Well, it's a good way to get lots of characters involved without making a mess.
That's probably the biggest reason why I like it.
Yeah, case in point, Sonic and Tails are our A team. B team is most of the rest of Freedom Fighters. They're actually taking the jet into the atmosphere to more quickly, I guess, get to Megaopolis.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh yeah, before they head out, I have to point out that as Sonic is heading out, it made me nostalgic when he's like, "Oh hey Sal, give me a power ring." I was like, "Yes."
Wow,
good.
Power rings. We're actually gonna see them again.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very sad AM thing.
It is.
Also, I feel like okay, Sonic and Knuckles still have the droopy hair, but I feel like Ron Lim's art is getting a little bit better. Sally looks pretty good here.
Yes, I noticed that with a different issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Rotor, I think, is mission control for this right now, and so he's monitoring them as they take the jet into space. And also, Fiona's just here, she's just a regular part of the hero cast now.
Yeah, that was a little odd that Fiona's just here now.
SBO also, he points out this is quite a team, and yeah, this is a weird team. Well, I don't know why they chose those 2.
Well, it's basically just we took all the rest of the Freedom Fighters, and then we swapped Amy, because I guess she's a Freedom Fighter now, with SBO for some reason.
Yeah, because Amy is with Knuckles' team.
Right, which I mean, I do think that's kind of funny. I don't know why, but that just seems really funny.
Well, and that's... Actually, wait. We have 3 teams, right? Sonic and Tails, Knuckles' team, and then the other Freedom Fighters. Oh, no, sorry. They're heading for Megaopolis because Sonic and Tails are fast enough to get there on their own.
Right, they'll get there faster. They're heading there as the backup for Sonic and Tails.
All right, and Knuckles' team is the one heading toward Robotropolis.
Yeah, they're heading towards Robotropolis right now, and General de Couliet has a team of soldiers already at Robotropolis.
So it's kind of like 4 teams almost.
Yeah, we effectively have 4 teams here, but the 4th team is one named character and a bunch of the exact same copy and pasted Bear?
Yeah, those are always the Royal Soldiers for some reason.
Ever since Saturday, I think.
I guess bears make sense.
Is that
They're
true?
big.
I guess I completely missed that.
Maybe? That sounds right.
I wouldn't be surprised. I just didn't
that sounds right.
notice it.
Also, I'm realizing part of the reason I got confused is on the panel with Bunny, Antoine, their team on the jet, Fiona is at the back, but she's miscolored as Sally. Sally is not
Oh
the
my
right.
gosh, you're right.
Yes,
That wow.
that is yet another miscolor throwing us off.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of mission control, back at the castle, we have Max essentially trying to convince Gunn to stand down and not nuke everything.
Makes sense. It's
Yeah.
weird seeing Max like actually being a pretty good statesman right now.
It's also weird seeing Hugo Brass turned white. Um,
Yeah, that's a little interesting.
I think they just didn't communicate the guy's design to the colorist.
Probably.
Whoops.
Also, Station
That's
Square is
that's
sending
what we'll
Rouge to help
see.
with something.
To help.
There's a brief moment where the king tries to send everyone away, and Sally's like, no. And then the king is like, speak reason to the queen, and the queen's like, no. Uh, it's funny.
Fuck you, we're not going.
The queen will not side with Max if it means that she also has to listen to him and go away. That's the one time that the queen will draw the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the thing. We've had a very long-standing arc about Max being an abusive parent. If we have him being an abusive husband too, maybe then we'll see some progress.
Oh man.
Right.
Probably not though. But this issue is a good one to start. I was, worried that us having part one of Home last time meant that the rest of this would feel weird. It doesn't though, because this is very
Not
much
really.
a beginning to the assault on all of
Yeah.
this stuff. Case in point, nothing actually happens in this issue other than people going places. It ends with Sonic and Tails arriving.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Yeah.
strange, honestly. Because we already had setup last time, and so they just did setup again, kind of. It's not the same
Yeah,
stuff, but it's like,
yeah.
why didn't anything happen? I don't know.
I think last time they stuck too many eggs in their basket because they needed to have Sonic get home and react to everybody and show all the new changes before they could actually start
Right.
planning their assault.
So yeah,
You
that's
sure it's
fair.
not because they didn't have time because of something else in this issue?
I mean, that
Well,
doesn't
that's
help.
definitely part of it. So, yes, here is the elephant in the room on the other page here, even though I already spoiled what it is. This is Mobius 25 years later, the prologue, written by Ken Penders, and also the first page is drawn by Ken Penders, and the rest of it is drawn by Stephen Butler. Where we are in the distant future that is an alternate future canonically, even though Penders says it isn't, where Mobius is peaceful. We don't have Robotnik, we don't have any kind of villains as far as we know, and we are sort of following the journey of Knuckles' future daughter, Lara Sue.
Run that by me again. Did you say this is an alternate future or an actual future, and somebody says otherwise?
This is canonically an alternate future because SEGA would not have them say this is the canonical future, and Ballers can go on. Ballers went on record as saying, yes, this is one possible future for the series.
Right. Which
But
makes a lot
Penders-
more sense than just saying it is
Penders
the
is like,
future.
no, this is the real future. And literally, I think I mentioned this, Ballers pointed out that the official policy is that it's an alternate future once on Penders' personal fan forum, and then Penders banned him from the forum for that.
Okay, so I mean, maybe it'll be stated later, but it isn't right now. But you can infer as much simply because it has to be by the rules. Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, we start with Merlin Prower explaining what the future is.
Wow. Yeah, you always got to have these long explanations for simple things.
That's Pender's specialty.
Indeed, it is.
Well, and we're seeing, a lot of his modern stylistic quirks coming through with that extremely jank Lara Sue in the corner. Her design is also, as we said, way worse than Don Best's design for the alternate version.
Yeah.
Because there's no purple on her, she doesn't have the Nux gloves, and just... Yeah, it's not good. Also, Knuckles has a robot eye.
Yeah, later on, they're going to, hide this for a few scenes, so it's weird that they just showed it here.
I think that there was no communication between Penders and Butler about that. I think that might have been something Butler tried to have as a reveal, and then Penders was just like, nope.
Yeah, we're not gonna hype this up.
That would have been better, but whatever, because he has the hat.
He does have the hat.
Which is great.
Yep. I'm glad that, the hat doesn't have any rights issues, because, frankly, most of the stuff that contains it does, because it's these comics and the OVA. But no,
Right.
they can still give Knuckles the hat and the occasional bit of modern cosmetic material or some stuff.
Hmm.
Right.
Anyway, our story begins for real with high school civics class.
Oh
Oh boys,
boy.
we're back to school.
I think this is the first time in these comics, unless I'm remembering wrong, that locations are referred to as zones instead of dimensions.
Yeah, he calls
Yes.
ecosystem zones, which is more correct, yeah. But yeah, it's a bunch of very similar looking echidna kids being bored in class.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't had a good giant pile of Knuckleses dumped on us since the Knuckles comics proper, because we just haven't spent as much time in Echidnopolis. It feels like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean after it got like destroyed, except not really.
It
And then
got
it
removed
wasn't
from
it wasn't the
existence for
focus
a
after that.
while. Right.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it. It's so generic
Not
in terms
really.
of like I am writing teenagers. You have one kid say something that's wrong, and then Laura Sue says something that's correct because she's smarter, I guess.
And then
Uh,
she violently assaults another child.
yes, this guy Rutan makes fun of her, and she just immediately punches him in the face.
Like, goddamn.
She only gets a mild scolding for it as well. Whereas, like, if you did that at our schools, you would have gotten detention, at least suspended at
Yeah.
most, probably.
Well, because we know it's some kind of privilege. I don't know.
Well, they're the daughter of the Guardian,
Oh,
so
so
Right.
she just doesn't get punishment.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm almost certain that's true.
That's
That's totally
probably
what they should have. They should have made her like a spoiled delinquent type. I would have loved that.
would have been more interesting than what we get in this story about her.
Yeah, well, and frankly, we don't get much from her because after this, we immediately cut to Rotor, who dresses like a wizard now.
You
I
know,
Yeah,
science
Rotor
wizard.
for some reason. I'm surprised Ken decided, oh yeah, let's make Rotor a central character in this plot line.
That is a weird choice for him,
I
for Ken
don't
at least. I
dislike
don't.
it
I don't.
because it's
Yeah, I don't mind
interesting
it. I
and it's
like
better
Rotor.
than just echidnas everywhere, but
Yeah. Well, and it's clearly it's clearly other species are coming in and out of Echidnopolis at this point.
right, yes, that's true.
What you say that I've been keeping my eyes peeled to see if I see any dingoes in the background. We have Harry here, who is still a cab driver after 2.5 decades. I might
I
add.
You
can't
know,
believe it. I hope
I.
he's at least treated well.
See,
I
I think that
mean,
dingoes have gotten so marginalized at this point that he's the only one left in the city,
oh God,
and they still
that's
won't let him
little.
retire. He doesn't make
Oh
enough money.
God. Oh, that's terrible.
That's the bad way of looking at this, and honestly, I'd believe it.
Yeah, no, know what we've learned about Echidnopolis over the last while. Yeah, I believe it.
Well, and that's the thing is that like you push this away from the peaceful future Sonic world and into like the kind of crappy future Sonic world. Case in point,
Right.
look at Espio here. He's got a shitty little beard and a trench coat.
He looks like someone I would cross the street to not be walking next to, or like,
He looks like a drug dealer.
That's
yeah,
my
yeah.
description there.
He and Rotor are also both like very wrinkly despite being I don't know. I feel like they have to be like early 40s at the oldest. I feel like he wouldn't be that wrinkly.
The stress
I mean,
of fighting for years and
you
years
know
can get
what?
to you.
Yeah. Well, Rhoda's clearly, I mean, to me at least, it's clearly the oldest of the freedom fighters.
Nope, nope. I know
No,
for a fact
no?
that he's this because he goes to high school with Sonic and Bunny and everybody, but
Oh, that's true.
Antoine was the oldest and didn't have to. We
Shit,
will
okay.
we will not be seeing Antoine in this timeline, by the way.
All right.
Actually, I don't know what the fuck happened to Antoine or Bunny. Anyway, sorry. There's a lot of characters that don't show up in this
They're
because
too good for this timeline.
yeah, and I'm not saying that I would
Probably
want
true.
to. Anywho, the only reason that Rotor is here is to ask if Sonic and Sally, who are King and Queen now, as we've sort of already seen,
It was on the
can.
cover if you forgot.
Oh yeah,
That's
he
true.
wants to ask if they can meet with Knuckles' family, which is weird. Because like, why do you have to travel to Angel Island to ask that question?
Yeah, just like call Knuckles, you know.
Yeah, because Espio does that right here after that.
Right. We've
When he has
already
phones in the future.
we've already established even, in the past that we've seen The ability to contact people without going in person
Yeah, that was last
exists.
week's Locke called
Yeah,
them from Angel Island.
that's right.
Oh, I don't know how Rotor wrangled this, but I'm pretty sure this is just an excuse because he's here. He actually ends up doing other stuff here.
He does.
Yeah.
That is true.
But yes, SBO calls Knuckles, and is this not the most depressing visual you've ever seen? Think about it.
Like,
He is sitting
like
on
his
a
back cave?
throne, underground and alone, all dressed up in Hawking's hat, staring at a bunch of fucking TV screens. He became his father!
Oh, God.
Sort of.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he sort of has
Yeah.
become Locke.
I guess I hadn't. Yeah. I mean, that's yeah. Well, anyway, on another note, I forgot that Sonic and Sally's children were named Manic and
Manic and
Sonia.
Sonia.
That threw me through the loop a little bit, and then I had a thought, which is, hey, wait a minute. Underground is canon now to these comics. Are they named after Manic and Sonia?
That is a good question.
I don't think that there's any word from Penders on why they're named that, but I would assume that he did it in reference to that, and if you asked him, he would tell you he named him after that.
I know, but I mean in universe.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if you asked Penders, he would tell you Sonic named them after the alternate universe brother and sister he met. I bet that he wasn't thinking that while he named them, though. He probably just did it as a cheeky little reference.
Either way, it's a funny idea.
It is a funny it is a funny little idea.
Well, and that's part of Knuckles and SPO talking about how everybody has kids now and they're all hormonal teens or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of mundane talk here, but then SBO talks about how, like I said, he's suspicious of Rotor. He's like,
Yeah.
he's up to something, and he calls him like a mad scientist. Which what? Mad scientist? Is
I
that
mean,
really a correct
yes.
descriptor?
Yeah, Rotor is here to see an echidna scientist. I don't think we see that he's an echidna yet, but it's an echidna scientist called Kobar. And yeah, SBO's like, pretty scary when two mad scientists get together considering their last project. I don't know what that means exactly. I don't think we ever see that. But also, no, Rotor's not a mad scientist. He's a mechanic, basically.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, he did invent stuff, but it was usually pretty pragmatic.
Right, it was usually mechanical stuff that like was needed.
Yeah, it was guns, maybe some sort of vehicle work, and a thermos.
I'm about to say him and a thermos.
Oh, that was probably what pushed him over to mad science.
That was the last project that SBO was talking about.
Ah, yes.
After he made the new and improved thermos.
The thermos 3.0. It was so improved he skipped 2.
Can we talk about the next page?
Yes. So, what happened here exactly? Because, okay, the kid who made fun of Larsu and got punched is named Rutan. No words on if we're going to be seeing one named Santaran later. But
Oh,
sorry, I probably stole that joke from you, didn't I?
no, I hadn't thought about that. That's genius.
Anyway, so Rutan comes home to his mother, Lian Da. So, what's going on with the Legion right now?
I'm at this point. I don't think the Legion exists. Maybe it does, and we'll see it later.
I can't believe that it still would after all this time. But yeah, Leon Daw is just chilling here in Echidnopolis. So I guess somehow they left on good terms.
Apparently.
I guess part of it might be the fact that Dimitri is still alive after all this time.
He's a fucking head in a ball.
Barely alive.
Floating bubble with his head in it.
This is so silly looking.
It's amazing. I approve of this completely.
Oh, I love it so
honestly,
much.
I like this way better than his big chunky cyborg design.
Big chunky cyborg design was fun in its own way. This is just silly fun. Like, this is just ridiculous.
This feels more like something I would see in Sonic than him being big and clunky, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yes, so she's like, oh, why is there a bump on your head? And well, I do like the part where she's like, oh, did you get into a fight? You know, Kragok and I never did as kids. And Dimitri's like, yeah, but you guys tried to fucking betray me multiple times.
Also, I do not believe that Kragok and Leon never got into fights.
They murdered their dad, so probably not.
Murdering your parents could be considered a fight.
Well, between each other though.
Sure, yeah.
Anyway, so we get back with Knuckles, and Lara Sue is locked in the bathroom.
Why are you locked in the bathroom?
Because she doesn't want to go to her, what do they call it, the unveiling ceremony?
Yes.
But she's locked in the bathroom because Knuckles won't make her guardian.
Yeah.
She's a teenager.
I do appreciate the sentiment. Knuckles wanting to kill off the Brotherhood. Good job. But he is, predictably, honestly, very terrible at talking with his daughter here. It's a very awkward exchange.
I can't say I'm surprised.
He just yells at her through the door, and he even considers hitting her at one point, doesn't he?
I don't know. Oh yeah, he does.
He says
Yeah.
spanking, which is also weird.
Right.
That's hitting. It counts.
Sure, yeah.
But he does ask one question that I wholeheartedly agree with, was why the hell do you want to be a guardian? It sucks.
Yeah, I don't get why she would want to be a guardian.
Okay, I say that I agree with the question, and it's like, I do get it, but it's also that, okay, the subtext should be so easy here, that Lara Sue would be someone growing up in a peaceful world who's excited because she views being a guardian as a heroic role without knowing all the shit Knuckles went through.
Right.
And Knuckles wouldn't want that because he would feel like he's forcing it on her the way his dad forced it on him.
Sure.
But that's not what happens, is the problem. Lara Sue wants to be guardian just because, and without really an understanding of what that means, and Knuckles' response is just that being guardian is boring when there's nothing horrible happening.
I mean, I think it could be, you could look at it in a way of, children tend to almost idolize their parents, and, she could view wanting to follow in the steps of her dad because, she's, my dad's so cool, I want to be just like him.
I wish they made that more explicit if that is how I'm meant to read it.
Oh, sure, yeah. No, I agree with that. I'm just, you shouldn't have to read into it.
It is funny, though, that, like Lauren said, Knuckles doesn't really want there to be any guardian, including himself.
Right.
It is weird that actually does convince her, though, and, like, she leaves all cheerful. Either way, that's the end of the prologue.
Yeah,
I guess. I
didn't really feel like an ending.
I didn't even realize that was supposed to be a prologue, because it kind of just continues.
Yeah, for being a quote-unquote prologue, it really just feels like...
Nothing?
Yeah, it just feels like nothing happened.
It's
which, I mean, I guess that's par for the course with...
Yeah, that's classic
Pendy's writing.
It's not even really setting anything up other than a ceremony, I guess.
Yeah, it's setting up like a party, and that's really it.
And I guess a walrus and an echidna are going to do some tech stuff. And we don't even know the other guy's an echidna yet.
I guess that's true.
That's true.
We introduced the setting,
Yeah, I think that's the most important part.
As an introduction to our future timeline and to Lara Sue, the girl that Penders wants to make the centerpiece of his entire medium from here on out, it's not doing a great job.
Not really.
Mostly I'm bored. But that's okay. We're done with it. We can move on to Sonic number 132, and there's no Bulbies 25 years later on this cover, at least.
That's true.
We got Team Red and we got Team Blue. It's just like Team Fortress.
Amy looks like Surge on this cover.
She kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, she does, kind of.
I'll say this. It's always weird seeing the digital version of this cover, because for years I was so used to seeing the print version where Knuckles' left arm is miscolored to be tan like Sonic's.
Oh, wow.
That might be one of the most obvious coloring mistakes in the series.
That's an interesting one.
Although, Spaziant also didn't give Tails any teeth, so that also looks weird.
Yeah, that's...
Anyway, that doesn't matter. What does matter is our first story here, which is called Adam and Evil, which is kind of... It's like we already had Evil last week, but...
That's true.
This just kind of feels like it's stretching.
I don't know if I'd say that. It's the same pun, though.
It is the same pun, yeah.
But this story, written by Vollers and drawn by Dave Monarch for some reason.
I feel like Monarch's been making a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, but his style has mostly not changed that much, so...
No, I think it's just... I think for me, at least, it's better coloring helps it a lot.
Well, and less wacky scripting from like
Yeah.
Gillen.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really just it's just kind of like slightly janky art now.
yeah, but simultaneous battles are waged in Robotropolis and Megaopolis as Dr. Eggman demonstrates the destructive power of Atom and Mecha.
He couldn't have given his robot daughter a better name, just Mecha.
Especially since he shortens it to M, which signals to me that he didn't have confidence in the name.
Yeah, M is honestly cooler.
It is probably why it's
Yes.
all he uses anyway.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't. I, honestly, there are a lot of questions about what Eggman is thinking here because he's kind of
Yeah.
just standing in the open with only M by his side, and Sonic just rushes him, catches him completely off guard, and he's just gonna like handcuff him, which is hilarious. You never see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a very almost early comics level of wackiness.
not only does Eggman leave himself open to the guns on Tails' plane, but Sonic just jumps off and starts beating with his fists. But in the meantime, Tails is busy trying to hack into the missile launch systems, since that's what actually matters here. But Eggman is like, "Oh, you can't do that. I've got Atom inside those things." So we're gonna see what he calls it an AI, or rather, it's less of an AI and more of a sentient computer virus he created by accident.
Right.
This
Which
is
is that then went to
strange.
infect everything, it sounds like.
So, yeah, there are a number of weird things here. First of all, is that Eggman acting surprised somehow gets him out of Sonic's grasp, which is, I guess, just comedy right there.
Yeah.
But why is he, like, surprised? Like, he's not, like, I mean, he is gleeful in the next frame, but initially he's just like, what? What? Why would he be doing that? Like, but, like, it's a good thing, because then Adam's gonna hack Tails' plane. So I don't know why. I guess he just really didn't expect that. Eggman's mannerisms here are weird. But yes, so Adam is a virus. So I infer this to be that it sort of turned on the system and infected everything. But luckily, Adam didn't act hostile immediately because I guess there's no actual rule that a fully autonomous AI has to instantly betray its creator. What do you know? And so
That's
Adam is
true.
completely in control, but just happens to be listening to Eggman.
I
Yeah,
think
he still
he's just
wants to
like
serve him.
he's just like, all right, cool. I'll work with you.
Which makes me wonder how similar it is to Eve, because I don't think anybody tries the old "you don't have to listen to Eggman" bit.
Hmm. Maybe that's just too obvious.
Yeah. Our next scene is at Robotropolis Fort Acorn, which I guess they've built over the time skip. But it's a good scene because we've got friendly banter going on between Knuckles and Julie Sue, where Knuckles is like, I want to take the bullish head-on approach because I'm Knuckles and that's my fucking personality now.
Right.
Instead of, standing around ranting to himself, and Julie's like, oh, come on, I don't want you to die again.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair.
But I do find the bit right after that funny, where they walk in on Amy some kind of image training. I'm not sure.
I thought she was like I thought she was like going full berserker and getting high.
She's doing some kind of meditation, yeah, and some type of mental warm up. And I find it hilarious that they've used Amy's Pico Pico mallet so little in this comic.
She just
And
has like Mjolnir.
yeah, Monarch just draws it as a big ass sledgehammer.
I thought that was just because it was like powered up or something.
No, because I don't think
I
don't
bet
think the Pico Pico hammer's actually ever been shown.
No, we had that bit in the adventure arc where she pulled it out to whack a guy, and she was like, "Where did this come
Right.
from?" And it was really weird.
I think, and then every other time it's been shown, it's just been like a generic hammer.
Yeah,
Which,
so
granted, has only been like one or two times.
I'm guessing Ballers' script called for a hammer, and Monarch just
Right.
drew what he thought would work.
Yeah, kind of ended up giving her Thor's hammer.
Yeah. But yes, so the battle here actually does begin with the robots charging toward the blockade at Robotropolis. And we get some vector action, and notice he's not talking in bad raps.
Yeah, he's just
Wow.
talking now.
It's amazing. And he blasts them with giant sound waves from speakers.
Yeah, I like that the writers are throwing in different characters here, and yeah, we get to see Vector. I mean, I'm trying to think. Yeah, he hasn't really done anything significant for a while.
I mean, I think the last significant thing he did was basically this. When he was putting out the fire way back in whatever Knuckles issue that was.
Oh my god, you're right.
Right, but
I
it's
don't
That
think
might
most
be
of
the
the
one.
Chaotix have had individual actions to do since the Knuckles comics themselves. Except, I guess,
Honestly,
Charmy and Saffron in that one Gruckles comic, maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, they're not only are they mixing the Chaotix in with the other heroes, but they're giving them unique ways to participate.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of all this, Tails has been flying the tornado trying to hack into Eggman's systems, but then Adam takes over the controls on the tornado.
of course,
Which
as
is
predicted by Eggman.
And Adam is unknowable in terms of his actual computer strength. He is interesting, but yeah, he's like, oh, I'm just gonna fly into the ocean. But okay, I think the discussion is gonna hinge on whether this is a good plot choice or not. Adam is easily distracted if you split his attention.
he just has ADD.
This is a great plot choice, I think.
Yeah, I think that's
Um,
perfectly fine.
it makes Adam interesting. I was waiting for the moment when they'd be anything more than generic android helper. Now they have a character trait.
Yeah, we have our first character trait about Adam. He has ADD.
Yeah.
I finally someone I can relate to.
It's a little bit. It reminds me of Krillin versus Chiaotzu, where he beats him by asking him math questions to distract him. And so Tails just like, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" And he's like, what an interesting question." And that works.
Yeah,
It's like I have to answer this first. I can't kill you just yet.
Oh, of course.
Well, and speaking of waiting before killing people, I guess M was just standing off to the side this whole time because only now does she walk up to Sonic and kick him in the face.
She was just waiting for the right time for it to be dramatic.
Yeah.
I don't know. M is also weird because she seems pretty passive for the most part. It takes a lot to get her into action.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least as far as we've seen so far.
I don't know. The way that she talks, her two lines in this whole story are you hurt father and no one hurts father. And if they wanted to portray her as like very overprotective, then well, frankly, I think Ian is happy that he got to write Sage into Frontiers because he didn't really get to do much with Mecha, so
Yeah.
It's just weird because she was standing there, the whole time until now.
maybe Sonic knocked Eggman like really far when he hit him, and so she was just taking all that time to run over there.
Jeez.
They are on an aircraft carrier.
I mean, yeah, they are.
Anyway, that doesn't really matter that much. So the Shadow Bots and various Eggman robots, I suppose, they destroy Vector's speakers, but now Amy is here to save the day.
Yeah, she's gone full berserker.
Yeah, Amy has become a menace now.
I mean, honestly, with that hammer, I'm all for it.
It's great.
Yeah, it's funny.
These comics have done almost nothing with Amy. This is the first real fight she's included in.
Yeah, and she's just wrecking house. I love it.
Yeah, no complaints from me.
Honestly, I almost wish she was portrayed like this more often.
Well, because that's much more like the good version of Game Amy.
Yeah, Amy, who's she's action girl, which I feel like a part is supposed to be a big part of Amy's character in the first place.
Yeah, the thing is, Amy was literally thrust into this immediately, and so she just had to take some time to get used to the hammer and her new role in the Freedom Fighters.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I suppose it's been a year, so maybe she's had time to get used to all of that.
Yeah, in fact, it's been a year, so that's probably why she's a full-fledged freedom fighter now.
Yeah, so after this, we basically repeat the Adam and Mecha stuff with Tails asking it more questions and Mecha continuing to beat up Sonic.
I'm revising my judgment on Mecha because you're right that they're totally just wailing on Sonic at this point. Which, by the way, I did not expect that. I did not expect Mecha to just start like beating up Sonic. That's funny.
Her design does not really say physical fighter to you. It says she should be holding a big gun of some sort, I think.
Honestly, yeah.
I that's kind of what I expected more.
Well, she gives me Terminator vibes, which the T-800 at least does plenty of physical violence in both Terminator 1 and 2. But when I think Arnie as the Terminator, I think of him with a big gun.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Sonic does get bodied, so apparently she is effective. He gets thrown in the water.
Damn, shame he can't swim.
Yeah.
Oops.
And of course, then is when we have to cut to Sally, because we can't show her just being, like, cheering them on at any point. No, we have to first have her react thinking that he's died again.
This will be... Well, pay attention to this.
No, it's
Yes,
good to
this
pay
will,
attention to this.
Yes.
Part of the thesis of late... Anyway.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll talk about this more later this episode.
Yes,
This is set up, is my point.
And annoyingly, but also effectively, she's like, alright, I need to go there myself. And then Max and Alicia pull the fucking, no, we need you here shit. It's like, no, look at this poor girl. She has nothing.
I can at least appreciate these writers letting Sally make, a split-second decision instead of forcing her to mull it over for a week.
Just clasp your hands together and look concerned. You're a video game princess. We can't dwell on it. We've dwelled on it a lot. But we can't dwell on it.
She was in Spinball, I guess. So I guess she is a video game princess.
That's true, she is. Yeah.
Anyway, Rouge arrives at Robotropolis with gun reinforcements, and she looks really weird under Monarch's pen.
She's really gangly.
She is a whole-ass human lady. Sonic does manage to get out of the water, but M is on the chase, of course. This leaves Eggman unguarded, though, and... Hi, Shadow!
Yeah, Shadow just shows up.
Where the hell have you been?
This got me hyped as heck, because I'm like, oh, wow, Shadow, maybe you're gonna have like a big role in the story. Finally, no,
not really.
That's not what happens.
No,
Spoilers.
not really.
I don't know what the hell Shadow wants during these parts, but yeah.
Well, we'll see what he wants. He wants one thing, and
he just wants violence.
Yeah.
Men literally only want one thing, and it's fucking disgusting.
It's disgusting.
So Mecha catches up with Sonic, and our cliffhanger is on her scary robot eyes.
Question: when you first read this, what did you think Mecha was doing here?
That is a really good question.
I thought, because Sonic is like, he's about to say some sort of quippy line or whatever, and then he just stops, like in mid-sentence. So I thought that she was like mind controlling him. That's not what happens, but that's what it looks to me.
Yeah.
It's just weird that he reacts that way.
Well, especially since ultimately they just keep fighting her next issue, so I don't know what Sonic would be reacting to other than her eyes are a little scary.
I mean, yeah, that's...
I think that's all it is.
Yeah, that's all he's reacting to.
Anywho, so that's the end of that story. It was all action, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I guess I don't have any major complaints, so that's fine.
I have no complaints, no, I guess.
Yeah, not really.
Alright, well, let's complain instead. Mobius 25 years later. I guess this makes it part 1, even though the last part was the prologue? Whatever. The Unveiling, Penderson Butler. Knuckles' family and friends navigate Lara Sue's unveiling party, whilst Rotor and fellow scientist Kobar detect strange anomalies in the fabric of space-time.
Wow.
And, no, that's not just Knuckles in a suit on the left.
No, he doesn't have a robot eye.
Yeah, it's true, he doesn't.
No, this is a really weird moment, because this is Knuckles' brother Mace. You know.
His brother?
Knuckles'
What?
half-brother?
Oh, wait, what?
Wait, okay.
Well,
okay.
yeah, so I knew...
That makes sense.
Because Lara Leigh is mentioned being pregnant, I think.
Exactly once.
Yeah, well, okay, she did once. I didn't hallucinate that.
While Knuckles was busy defending Dimitri's honor.
It was hilarious. I would never forget the moment.
Fair.
Yeah.
Alright, fair, okay.
So this is him. He's introduced as an adult before he's even born.
You know what? And I didn't get that when he called Lara Sue his niece. I don't know why I didn't get that.
Because Knuckles has so many miscellaneous family members that you could almost believe.
I mean, yeah, true.
No, but he's Lara Leigh and Windmaker's kid.
Right.
And if Julie Sue is to be believed, he's here to flirt with married women?
You know, like you do.
It's
yeah, I guess.
It's very weird. And yeah, I guess that's like 17 years between Knuckles and his brother, but I don't
Something
know.
like that.
I guess Locke and Lorelei were probably really young when they first got hitched, so...
I think they did kind of imply that previously.
I mean, that's the case for probably all of these characters, because
Well, yeah, of course.
it's one of... Penders is definitely one of those, right, the characters just getting married right out of high school shit.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that in real life, by the way, if you're watching, kids.
I mean, yeah.
So,
You
Knuckles and Lars...
mentioned that wasn't Knuckles. When you actually do see Knuckles, if I hadn't already known, and you just showed me this scene in isolation, I guess without the word bubbles, I would have not necessarily recognized this was Knuckles.
Yeah, you would have thought he was some other echidna.
Yeah.
This is funny.
Because if not for the robot eye, he and Mace would look exactly alike.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, he dances with Laura Sue, and she's like, "Oh, I hate my dress in this party." And Knuckles is like, "I don't care, because I'm a dad written by Penders now."
Yep.
And, well, I don't know who the hell this is that takes Knuckles' place to dance with. It's some guy with markings on his head.
It's just another one of the various Knuckles family.
I suppose, maybe. It could also be unrelated, I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I guess, yeah.
Because, like, Laura Sue, it's hard to determine, like, who's her actual friends. I don't know. I think we'll see a couple of them later, but also they're just Espio's daughters, I'm pretty sure, and I'm not sure if that's just because Espio is with Knuckles. I don't know. Anyway, Knuckles leaves to go hang with Julie Sue, and he's like, "I can't believe our little girl is all grown up, and neither can I, because you just introduced her." You skipped over the foundational development.
Yeah, they really did.
This is just generic parent dialogue. There's nothing.
It is, and once again, it feels like nothing's actually going on.
Yep, they're just looking out over the sky, which is covered in crazy lightning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So here's the actual. Well, I say actual. Here's the plot part of the plot, which is our two so-called mad scientists, Rotor and newcomer Kobar, who is really, really old. He is melting.
He also looks like he's former Dark Legion.
I would guess so.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So have I talked about this character at all, other than mentioning that he exists?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay, I want you, neither of you look this guy up, and for our viewers, well, I don't care what our viewers do, but don't spoil it for these guys. Bruce, don't let Kayla tell you what this guy's deal is. I don't even know if they know.
I doubt Kayla knows, but I will.
I want to see, because I gotta prove a point. I'm going to ask you what this guy's deal is a couple different times. I want to see if you can deduce from just the comics themselves, which I think you won't be able to, and that's part of my point, what this guy's deal is.
Okay.
You won't be able to tell now, probably, but...
I didn't even think about this guy twice. I literally thought he was an instrument to relay the plot, and that was it. I didn't think he had any significance. Now I will watch him with great interest.
By most accounts, you should be correct. It's entirely based in something that Penders likes to claim nowadays, that I don't think was very well portrayed at all.
Okay. Interesting.
Anywho. So, Rotor and Kobar deduce somehow, I guess, that the multiverse is collapsing in on itself.
Because years of experience, my friend. I mean, they've done their fair share of multiverse hopping anyway.
That is such a
universe hopping.
That is such hand wavy bullshit, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all just weird mumbo jumbo anyway.
I mean, yeah, it is. It's all bullshit that I don't fucking understand.
Who's to say, like, what Tess Rotor did before coming here anyway? So, the thing about this that I find notable and funny is that they're like, oh, yes, over time we damaged the fabric of reality, and sure, like, the echidnas have some things to blame, but it was really Sonic who screwed things up.
Yeah,
of course Penders would say that.
Yeah, why are they blaming Sonic specifically? Like, okay, Sonic has gone through the multiverse the most, but Robotnik did it, various characters have come with Sonic, and Sonic only ever did it because he was trying to help people. Something was a threat, often from an alternate universe.
Don't we also have a group of characters who are specifically meant to be protecting the multiverse?
Uh-huh.
Sonic probably died or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sonic bit the dust.
What happened to the time cops, the zone cops? You know?
Yeah, that's
if anything
their whole
is gonna
purpose
be...
is to protect the fucking multiverse.
Well, and their whole thing is going to alternate dimensions. So if anything is going to be causing that rift, it's going to be them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
Yeah.
And, well, here's something notable. Rotor says, well, we can't go back in time, so what should we do? And Kobar is like, I don't know. And then he just fucking leaves.
Oh, okay. I didn't even catch that. I know exactly where this is going now.
Yes. So that's certainly a scene that exists.
Yes, it is.
Instead, we end on Vector, which is Pender's Vector, and thus has the slang, the hip lingo, and also has a son, which...
Yeah.
Everything we've seen Pender's Vector say to women, I'm surprised he ever found a wife.
Well, that's the interesting thing. We don't see anybody.
Oh, so he's a divorced dad.
Maybe he grew this kid in a tube.
What?
No, Vector's a divorced dad.
Yeah, that seems more probable to me.
I sleep in a racing car. Do you?
I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
Oh.
Yeah, his son is named Argyle, and Vector is concerned that he's not, like, misogynist enough to dance with Julie Sue. He's like, he's such a homebody, he may not know what to do. You think you know what to do? No, shut up. You don't even get to have a wife who exists. Instead, your son just arbitrarily is here.
Such a homebody. What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't know. Penders is, like, 70 years old at this point.
I think he just made that up.
No, I think that's a real term, but it's, again, so antiquated. And I don't know who the parents of Espio or Leon Dawes kids are, either.
Interesting.
But, anyway, Harry gives Knuckles a note from Rotor, so he and Julie Sue are heading for Locks Park!
Uh-huh.
I mean, yeah. You know.
Yeah, and that's our cliffhanger. Well, these 25 years later sucks. It's gonna keep sucking, I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, it's not great, but I mean, it's somewhat an improvement over Knuckles is God and just messing around being God, in my opinion.
I guess?
Like, there's not a whole lot happening, but at least
there is no Gruckles.
You're seeing characters.
That's
and yeah,
true.
Honestly, yeah, it's just good to not have Gruckles around.
Fair enough.
So, like, this is technically an improvement in my book for Penders.
Yeah, well, we still have plenty of time to be bored, so let's move on to Sonic number 133. Final part of Home. I don't have anything specific to say about this cover. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a cover.
It's a cover. It's fine.
And the finale is called Finale.
Wow.
They didn't really give it a unique name, but Ballers and Butler. The battles in Robotropolis and Megapolis reach their peak as Sonic is injured and Adam is subdued. And thank God they got Butler for the finale.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, Mecha is attacking with laser eyes, so I guess that's why we were supposed to be surprised last time.
That's what it was. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, like after that cliffhanger, I thought it was going to be something significant. No, it's just laser eyes. Wow, okay, boring.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Robotnik robot thing.
Yeah.
I am kind of weirded out by Sonic's face here. His mouth is like dripping spit as he's jumping out of the way. But yes, meanwhile, the thing that we wanted to see and that is honestly kind of funny is Eggman's like just here and he's like, "Oh, it's Shadow. What do you want?" And Shadow's like, "Your death. I'm going to snap you like a twig and use you for kindling."
This is such a Shadow line. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love his line, Sonic holds such beliefs. Then again, he's a hero. I'm not. When Eggman's like, wait, good guys don't kill. Shadow's just like, fuck you, I'll kill you.
This is like murdering someone I don't like, which is fine by me.
Fine.
Yeah, and
it very much feels like a Shadow the Hedgehog, doesn't it?
Does, which I'm okay with.
It is very funny.
Hilarious.
I don't get what Shadow's motivation for all this is. Like, I don't mind him being against Eggman, but I don't know why he needs to go out of his way to kill him specifically.
Here's the thing. I don't know what Shadow's in these comics for. Like, what's the motivation of putting Shadow in these comics from the writers?
Yeah, because he's literally done nothing.
He's
But
not going to do anything either. This is the last part. He's just here to come and try to kill Eggman.
He's here to threaten
Spoilers,
Eggman,
he doesn't
and
kill
that's it.
Eggman.
Yeah, he
This
just
is actually
threatens
Shadow the
Eggman a
Hedgehog.
bit. Damn.
I know.
I think they were reckoning with the same thing that the games were at this point, which is if we're bringing Shadow back to life, what do we actually do with him? Because the games had to contrive a whole amnesia plot, which lasted 2 games, and only once they reached Sonic 06 does Shadow have a normal place to occupy in the narrative.
Fucking, he's a federal agent, which he isn't yet, and it's turned into Shadow just kind of bums around and, like, threatens people.
Has he been in Knothole this whole time? Has he hung out with people? I don't know.
No, they say later in, I think, this issue, that they're like, oh shit, we haven't seen Shadow in, like, a year.
Yeah. Very, very reclusive boy. Anyway, Tails is still having his verbal battle with Adam.
Great.
It's fun. This is fun. I like this.
He tries to do like the newspaper riddle, what's black and white and red all over, and Adam answers Shadow the Hedgehog.
He's technically not wrong.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. It's really the Robotropolis battle where there's potentially meaningful progression.
Also on this page, I was waiting for this since Rouge showed up last issue. I was like, oh wait, Rouge and Knuckles. How are they going to interact in the comics? We never saw that. There's still not much here, but
we get a little bit.
We do, because Julie Sue is like is still talking to Knuckles and being like, hey, don't be so reckless. You can't even glide anymore, which, yeah, that's a thing, apparently. I forgot about that. And he's like, psh, I don't need to glide when Rouge can carry me along. And Rouge lifts him off, brings him away. And
miss,
Julie
please
says,
throw me.
Hello, please carry me to the fight.
Yeah.
And Julie has a little humph. Which there's 2 ways you can read this. There's the correct way and there's the hilarious way. The correct way to read this is that Julie's just upset that Knuckles isn't listening to her at all, and is like, whatever, I could go into battle, I'll find a way. And then the hilarious way is that, wait a minute, in Sonic Adventure 2, there was like weird romantic tension between Knuckles and Rouge. Are they setting up a love triangle here?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I will do you the courtesy of not answering that.
Oh God!
Excellent.
I'll say this: I've spent way too many of these, especially these past couple episodes, just saying things that happen later, and I need to not do that as much. So I won't tell you. Anyway, Sonic gets shot in the shoulder.
It's fine. He's, you know.
But you say it's fine, and obviously it will be, but we still have to have the obligatory shot of Sally reacting and running out of crime with her naked human woman body. She looks particularly goofy in that panel. But
she does.
It's like, it makes sense, right, that Knothole has spy drones everywhere. I assume that's the thing that's monitoring Sonic on all of these pages, right?
Right.
But it means that Sally basically has a live feed of her boyfriend in a violent conflict while essentially being held hostage by her parents.
What a great situation.
Great. And I was thinking Sally might not be suffering so much now.
I know, I remembered you saying that last week, and I was like, oh, God.
Oh. It's a shame, because I want to like Sally, I really do. But the writers make it so hard.
It's training anybody who reads this to be like, well, if I have mental health problems, I need someone to blame.
Jesus.
I mean, that's sometimes true, I guess.
Now that I'm saying it, it's a weird thing for me to say, because, like, definitely sometimes that is caused by things in your life.
Yeah, that is occasionally true. I will give you that, but,
kids, go to counseling.
Yeah?
On a completely different note here.
Thank God.
Once again, I am surprised at the turns Mecha is going. Like, she's just going more and more off the rails here. There's a moment where she's like, I want to hear you beg for mercy, hedgehog, which I did not... That... Really? Okay. That's
a little...
their character, I guess.
Yeah, that's a little brutal.
Yeah.
But she gets interrupted by Bunny. Heck yeah.
Hell yeah, Bunny gets to be awesome.
The rest of the Freedom Fighters are finally here.
How fast the Freedom Fighter special has been shown to be in the past. I don't know. Why is this so slow?
I don't know, because we're at New Megapolis, right? And that's, like, not far from Station Square, I thought?
I don't think so.
I have no idea how this.
Okay, the
plan
relative
was played out.
geographical positions in this series are not.
They seem to
consistent.
change.
But Bunny punches M into a building, which Jeffrey
Hell
then
yeah.
throws a grenade into.
Yeah.
Also, Bunny grabbed the spy drone and crushed it, which I don't get why.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'm
what's
guessing
going
it
on.
was actually a Robotnik thing that Knothole
Oh
just
wait,
hacked
did
into.
Tails? Yeah, hack into it maybe. That's
I'm
possible.
Well,
not
Tails
sure.
is still fighting with Adam.
Because
Mm,
I
could've
assumed
been.
that was where the camera
I don't
that Knothole was using was.
Well, I would assume. Well, so Knothole, don't they have some level of access to Robotnik's computer system?
I mean, that's our problem, is that we've been locked out, haven't we, because of Adam? I thought that was what it was supposed to be.
Maybe. Hey, maybe the writers should have explained things a little better.
Yeah, I have no idea what that drone is for, but
Yeah, I don't know.
in any case, we do
I guess
have.
that means Sally doesn't have to watch anymore.
We do have something I was choking myself to not bring up last week, which is where, after
Jesus.
they get the save on Sonic, Bunny and Antoine share a surprisingly cold exchange before going to attack Eggman's aircraft carrier.
Oh no!
And Fiona explains to Sonic that they broke up half a year ago.
Damn, the only healthy relationship on all of Mobius broke up.
My disappointment is immeasurable,
And my day is ruined.
And the thing is,
I hate this trope of the happy couple that then there's a time skip and then
And
they
now-
have to be everything's ruined.
Yeah,
I'm getting
I don't get it.
flashbacks to Series 7 of Doctor Who. Gosh darn it.
Asylum of the Daleks. I knew you were going to bring that up. Yeah,
I don't get this.
Like, yeah, look, you can't let nice things stay. These comics are all about needless drama. Gosh
It
darn
sure
it.
feels like it.
I am like, yes, this pisses me off, and this is stupid, and it's bad writing, and I will not forgive Ballers for this transgression. Technically, it tied into some of his unused plans for the comic, but as I mentioned, Antoine's plotline post-time skip is fucking stupid, and you're gonna be amazed at how it ends.
Okay.
Okay.
So
It's totally only get worse. Great, I'll buckle up.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Because it's gonna go way downhill.
Because I'm saying this because the writing is going to be supremely terrible, but I'm saying this to reassure you that it's not going to be that bad by the end.
Okay.
By sheer dumb luck, basically. Very, very dumb luck. Anyway, so, the grenade obviously was not enough on its own, so Mecha, I guess they burnt her skin off?
Yeah, she's literally a T-800.
We are now introduced to the Boobinator. I can't call it anything else. It's a boob Terminator.
God damn it. It is a boob Terminator. God damn it.
Why would Eggman do this?
I do at least... What?
Why wouldn't Eggman do it?
Eggman is asexual. That's my headcanon.
Eggman's a fucking egg.
First of all, Bruce is correct. Eggman is an egg. Do not try to understand such things on that deep of a level.
I'm gonna be honest, that just slipped out. I don't know what that means.
It just means they do not adhere to any understandable sort of regular human standards. They are egg standards. And the egg will make weird things sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, this doesn't seem completely off-brand. Eggman, there's nothing sexual here. Eggman was just like, oh, hey, what if I just make this weird robot here? And, and if you burn off its skin, you'll get to see this form.
Right.
It'll be great.
Eggman doing Eggman things.
He just did a weird thing. That's all this is.
What if I just made this robot a lady? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Doctor Who season 7, more like Torchwood season 1.
Well, it's like, and I could also see Eggman thinking like, well, lady have boob. Why don't I guess I should give my robot lady boob.
Purely aesthetic interest in preserving the look, yeah.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
I do like that it's still this pure silver, though. And it's the silver.
Oh, yeah.
Metal Eggman legacy living on in some form.
Yeah,
and she is still a scary skeleton robot, so it's like it's not exactly titillating.
Well,
I suppose
no,
it could be for
God,
some
no.
people, but
well,
not for me.
okay, yeah.
But yes, so the battle continues. It is getting very, very hectic as we see back in Robotropolis. Everybody is fighting everything else.
Yeah, just big old fight.
But the savior in all of this, in part, the big point is Tails.
Yes, Tails gets to save the day. I'm sure he's done it before, but
Yeah, Adam finally gets his riddle, and for some reason that freezes him.
yeah, Adam just like broke.
Yeah, maybe it's the. I think the whole thing with distract him is you're literally using up more RAM as you're doing it.
Probably.
So maybe it's like.
Eggman's gaming computer isn't very good.
Yeah, so maybe it's like when you're like exporting something, and it crashes in the middle of exporting, but it still finishes it. So yeah, so that shuts down or at least freezes Adam and in turn the robots he's controlling.
Right.
Which leads to this frankly awesome sequence between, like, unfortunately, Eggman escapes from Shadow, but
Well, of course.
the big point is after this, where we get a whole page of Bunny flying around, ripping through the aircraft carrier.
You've been saying this before, Bruce, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I suppose it makes sense that you were talking about how, oh yeah, Bunny is probably one of the most powerful freedom fighters. I'm like, sure, in principle, but we haven't actually seen it a whole lot.
This kind of seals the deal on that.
Yes, I'm convinced now.
She just fucking punched a bunch of holes in an aircraft carrier.
This is an awesome moment. I love it.
That is a rad moment. Anytime we get to see Bunny doing something cool is great.
True. Backing up a little bit, though. Yeah, this is like the end of Shadow's involvement here.
Like,
Eggman just gets away.
Eggman, and then he just kind of leaves.
Yeah, this is disappointing, to say the least.
I'm not surprised.
See, the thing is, I don't dislike this direction for Shadow. Like, he doesn't have anything, so he's like, well, maybe I'll just go out and try to kill Eggman. Sure. But the thing is, it doesn't go anywhere.
I would expect Shadow to dive in the water after the submarine.
Like,
yeah, they already show him trying to peel up the fucking the panel that goes over Eggman when he goes below deck.
Well, see, the thing is, they seem to be setting something up when they were like, oh, I'm not a hero, unlike Sonic or whatever. And also, this isn't really to blame with the comics, but I've seen that moment like shown off before out of context. I'm like, oh wow, I wonder how Shadow is in the comics. But to see that it's really just a single moment on its own that doesn't have much to do with the rest of what's going on is disappointing. I thought that, maybe the heroes will come here and they'll be like, no, Shadow, don't do that, and it'll be like a bit of a conflict here. He'll be like a rogue element among the hero gang.
Which is crazy, because that happens in the first arc of IDW, Sonic.
Yes, it does. That's right.
Okay, well, there's some hope in the far future, I guess. But yeah, it's just a waste, and
it feels like they included him for marketing.
Yeah,
100%. And you put him on the cover. And, yeah,
but
great.
I also sympathize, because it is really hard to figure out where Shadow should be at this point.
They're not really adapting any game plots that would involve Shadow doing anything useful.
If anything, they should have put Sonic Battle in here, since that's the game where Shadow arbitrarily has all his memories.
I guess.
I suppose.
That game's plot was already fucking off the wall.
Yeah, that's true.
I say as I have a Sonic comic on my shelf with a cover based off of Sonic Battle's artwork, but anyway. So basically, the heroes are winning. The robots are destroyed. Fiona patches up Sonic, and he sends M into the sewers by cutting a hole in the floor.
Don't forget, SBO got his tail grabbed, because he can spit out his tail? Or not tail, his tongue. I meant tongue.
Have we seen him do that before? I feel like we've seen him.
I don't think we have.
I didn't remember it, but I don't know.
I mean, SBO's not all that memorable in the first place.
Yeah, I do like M grabbing him by the tongue and hitting Jeffrey with him, though.
I mean, any violence towards Jeffrey is okay towards me.
Very true.
Okay for me, excuse me.
Hershey gets to have exactly one attack, which M effortlessly swats away, though.
Fine, then Sonic just finishes the fight.
Yeah, he just
Goes
puts
full
him to
Master
sleep.
Chief.
Yeah,
which-
I guess the skin made it waterproof
I would assume
because
so.
they dived in the water
I
before.
would assume that would be the reason why you would put a skin over a robot chassis like that.
Yeah. But the battle is won, basically, and it's time to head home now.
Yeah.
And well, we do get one shot of Shadow looking wistful for unclear reasons. He could still probably go back and try to kill Eggman again.
I
he is
expect
the
he
ultimate
will.
life form.
Sally is kind of being consoled by her mom, but again, you're part of the problem. Eggman heckles Adam for failing, but it is funny because Adam's like, no, it was fun.
Yeah, so this year I'm like, okay, yeah, they're setting something up.
They're definitely setting something up with Adam.
It was pretty obvious from the start, sentient AI made by Eggman. There's only one way this goes, but yeah, I'm interested because I like Adam. He's funny.
Yeah,
Adam's it's an interesting addition to the Eggman Empire.
Stark contrast to M, who just got destroyed. Maybe they'll come back, but I don't know. Maybe my expectations were too high. But when you are like, oh, the two robot daughters of Eggman, not daughters, children of Eggman, and then one of them just gets destroyed unceremoniously. Right. It's kind of weird.
M is not gone for good, but she is pretty. This is pretty much her biggest exhibition, either way.
Right.
Well, they weren't shown to be anything much, so my expectations are gone now.
She's basically just a punch bot.
I'm kind of disappointed, honestly. The setup was hype as heck. Introduced all these crazy elements. I mean, it's not like they've done stuff with all of them yet. They're going to do stuff with some of them. But there's Eggman's grand plan, and then Sonic just rushes in and starts beating him up. And then there's just lots of action on the other front. Which the action on the other team, Team Red, I guess, is what the story called them, is maybe the better part. But they don't get a whole lot of focus. And the Team Blue is just very simple and straightforward. Like the only really interesting stuff is between Tails and Adam, which is funny, but it's just funny. There's no depth there. I don't know. This plot was very straightforward, surprisingly so.
Yeah, I think it's that they made it seem like they were surrounded on all sides last time, but then the conflict ended up really just being with Eggman like usual.
I think that's probably a good description.
Even then, it's mostly just people who work for Eggman. Eggman himself got punched a few times, but it's like he hasn't brought out a mech to fight them himself.
True.
Yeah.
Frankly, it feels like he doesn't do that very much in these comics.
Eggman very much feels like the man behind the screen.
Even though he's standing out in the open getting punched.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's yeah.
I definitely agree. It's like, it's disappointing, but it's not infuriating per se.
No.
I wish they had done more with it.
Definitely.
I think specifically the fact that they asked Station Square to stand down, and then they just kind of do.
Even though they said they weren't going to.
It's like, it's not that I think they should have been fighting Station Square or anything, but I feel like there should have been a more complex solution to that, and there should have been, I don't know, just more different things for the characters to do. It kind of just said, here's Action Team 1, here's Action Team 2, here's a bunch of fighting, and by the time the fight is over, the heroes win.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's like, I had some fun, but yeah, definitely a little too point A to point B. Which is kind of Baller's friggin' bread and butter at this point. But,
I mean, I can appreciate that, because at least it gets shit together.
Unlike the following issue, Mobius 25 years later, Midnight in the Garden, wherein some characters discuss some stuff. Rotor tells Knuckles about some stuff he found, and Laura and Julie have some mother-daughter talks, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was another improv story recap, because I forgot to write one again.
I mean, honestly, it was a pretty good recap. There's not a whole lot happening here.
Okay, so you said last issue that, like, war can age you a lot, but here's the thing. Knuckles and Julie Sue look basically the same age as they do now, so why does Rotor...
Julie Sue just has a lot more hair.
So Knuckles is a guardian.
Knuckles has guardian magic, whatever.
Yeah.
And Julie
Sue has money to afford anti-aging shit.
Oh, she's like Bulma. She just pays to get cosmetic
Oh.
surgery by magic every
Yeah.
few years.
wouldn't
Yeah, she is Bulma,
Sure,
alright.
that does it. Plus, echidnas are just
They're like Saiyans. They age differently.
They're the superior race. Remember?
All right,
Anyhow,
remember that for when you see Sonic and Sally.
Okay.
we've already seen them, and to that I say I don't know that they. Well, think about this. Would they dare make old wrinkly Sonic? I guess they might, but I kind of feel like they
SEGA
wouldn't.
may veto that.
No, they did in that issue where Snively has to put him out of his misery. Remember that? That was in a special.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that was a one-off gimmick though, not like
Not like
an
actual
ongoing
character.
plot line.
Yeah,
and also, thank you for reminding me of that. That was a hilarious moment. Just remembering that makes me more happy than this whole story right here.
Yes.
But this is a funny moment at the start, though, I will say, because Rotor is like, well, so first all Knuckles is like, wow, you didn't join the party. And Rotor's like, yeah, do you really think anyone missed me? And Knuckles is like, nah, stone cold, man.
Do you think anyone cares about old Rotor? No.
Nah.
Yeah, so basically Rotor's like, hey, you ever notice how the sky's all fucked up? And it's because time is collapsing, I guess.
Sure.
Here they say that, like, there's a problem with time, but at another point they said there's a problem with the universes. And
Time and space is all linked together.
do they establish what actually is going to happen here? No, they don't. Okay. But, it's a bad situation. Potentially the world's going to end.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's all we really need to know right now.
It's a lot of words to say it, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It could have been like a page and a half.
Case in point, the scene with Laura and Julie Sue being all like, oh, the parties, I don't have the freedom I want, I'm a teenager.
Yeah, this interaction is so generic and cringe.
I feel like all these interactions have been really generic so far.
I guess it's not entirely just Julie is also a bad parent, but like she's being super matter of fact, like, oh yeah, so I'm your mom, listen to me. Yep. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, especially since it's like the thing that she's not letting Julie do is go hang out with her friends.
Which, like, why were her friends not at this party?
Well, I assume they were, but she's saying that she didn't get to hang out with them after the parties, and so it's like,
I guess.
Well, why the hell not? Julie, you suck. What is this? And her only line is, like Lauren said, I'm your mother, so listen to me. It's the old Pendy's classic.
Yeah, the parents are always right.
What was the thing you were going to ask?
I'm just so used to them being right because it's actually destiny and God told me to do it in a dream. Not just, oh, don't do it because, like, I'm worried about you staying up late at night away, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think also is that we've mostly only got this from dads. The mothers have usually been much more, like, not terrible.
Yeah. True.
Like, I'm trying. Who's the worst mother in the series? Right now, it's Alicia, I think, and that's just because she's an enabler.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Knuckles and Rotor keep talking without really saying much, other than something's bad is happening, and then we cut to Rutan making out with, I think, is one of Espio's daughters in the bushes behind them.
It is a chameleon, so I assume she is.
It's really weird because he stops for a second and is like, hold on, I need to spy on these two old guys. And then, like, he hears Knuckles say, oh, we need resources and the king can help or something like that. And then he's like, boy, just wait till my mother hears about this.
What exactly are you going to be telling your mother? Because
what teenage boy would give a shit?
Yeah, A, what teenage boy would give a shit? B, what exactly are you going to be telling her? You didn't really learn anything.
Okay, so first of all, this is the son of the infamous Leon Da, who could be up to anything in this timeline.
That is true.
She's one of the only characters that I'm watching is like maybe something will happen with her.
She's gonna throw Dimitri into the fucking garbage disposal.
Oh my gosh. The weird thing about this, though, is now that I'm looking back this now, I'm realizing this isn't what he ends up doing. He doesn't end up just going. I mean, he kind of does, but this is not what follows. What the setup does
It
not
isn't really.
follow.
No, not really. One, it's like I don't get what the situation is here, because last time we saw them, the Dark Legion were on, I would say, uncertain terms with the Kidnopolis, but after Gruckles died, they totally disappeared from the story. Like, we just didn't see what happened to Dimitri.
Right.
So the fact that he's alive tells me, well, maybe they relitigated some stuff, but just, is everything just fine now? No hurdles any? Leonda just settled down and became a wine mom?
Somehow.
I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm on Team Salma here, the chameleon girl, in that she wants no part of this.
Sure.
Anyway, the slap comic is next.
Just,
This is
Yes, that's
just
true.
we're just gonna tear the bandage off.
We're just gonna drop it here. This is Sonic number 134, and that covers a Spider-Man reference.
Yes, it is.
Yes, so this is possibly the most controversial Sonic issue ever.
Really?
I'd
Yes.
say maybe infamous. Oh no,
I wouldn't say most
controversial
infamous,
works
because
also.
I am not going to be getting angry at the plot here the way some people did. I'm going to go ahead
True.
and assume that none of you were ever, like, motivated to commit violence against women because of this comic, because some people...
Well, I read it
they
for the
didn't
first
do
time
it as
today.
far as I know, but they
so-
were definitely motivated to.
I read it for the first time today, so I haven't had the chance to.
Give
to
it
commit
some
violence
time.
against women.
Give me like a week. Ask me again next episode.
No, but people argue over this comic to this day, whether
Jesus
they're on
Christ, people.
Sonic Side or Sally's, whether they think this was a secret conspiracy in order to push a pro SJW Amy Mina agenda. It's a nightmare.
I shouldn't be
Christ.
surprised.
I mean, I'm not
But-
surprised, but like,
Like, pretty clearly, this is just a dumb plot line. That's all there is to it.
It's
Yeah,
it's
this is
stirring
just
up
poor
exploitative
writing.
drama. Let's look at it here.
oh,
This is
boy.
Home the Epilogue, Say You Will, written by Carl Ballers and illustrated by Jonathan Gray, making his first appearance.
Yes.
I love it.
So,
This art is
I was
really
going to say the
fun.
exact same thing. His
This art is
style
really
is
fun.
a joy.
Yes, super expressive.
It's expressive, it's cute, you know, he did a bunch of work
It's very
for, like,
dynamic.
for like Disney comics, like Mickey Mouse and
I can-
stuff, and it shows.
I can tell. Yeah, now that you bring that up, I can definitely see the Disney in it.
And other than the very occasional, like, celebratory artwork from Spazions, I think this might be the first artist to work on these comics who is still working on it to this day.
Oh, really?
Oh, is he working
nice.
on IDW work?
Yeah, he's
Nice.
done. It's one of the specials. He did a story about Big the Cat and the metal virus.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, I'll probably run across it pretty soon.
Yes, but in this gorgeously illustrated story, Knothole celebrates Sonic's return and subsequent saving of the kingdom, but all is not what it seems, as Sonic discovers the freedom fighters are slowly falling apart before his eyes.
Before I talk about relevant details, is that a knight's skeleton?
That is a
in the
knight
background?
skeleton. I just noticed that.
I just noticed that too. That
Yep.
is an
Why is
interesting reference.
Why is that up there with Sonic's X-rays?
It's just a reference. It's
Knight's
not-
I
mission
know.
for a checkup.
I
Oh,
guess.
damn. I guess
And-
Knight's is a Mobian. What animal is he?
Knights.
Anyhow,
Knights. Okay. fair enough.
in addition to loving the style, I love the redesign for Dr. Quack here. He was very generic before.
Yeah,
No
now
more.
Now he's like Solid Snake, or excuse me, he's Naked Snake now.
Yeah, he's got a headband, an eye patch. He's got this like cool like coat, you know, for his doctor getup.
The big old Red Cross badge.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
you know,
It's great.
do I recall that like using the Red Cross in the wrong context is
It
violating
is
Geneva Convention?
It is technically a war crime. Like very technically, but it is technically.
Anywho, he is here to fix up Sonic because he got shot last week. But
Well, also,
last
I feel like
week-
Sonic just a few minutes ago.
yeah,
I feel like Sonic also just
Last
needed a
month.
checkup.
he's also
Yeah,
here
technically
to
would've
tell
been last
Sonic
month.
that the translator implant he got in space can't be removed.
Which
Oh,
why
well.
does Sonic overreact so much? That's like just a good thing. That's
Well,
just useful.
It's a piece of foreign technology stuck inside your skull that you can't remove.
Yeah, but like if it hasn't killed him already, it's not going to.
Well,
And
that's what
a
Quack tells
a
him.
universal translator is, if anything, a good thing to have in your brain.
I think it's fair to be anxious about foreign tech in your head. You know, we have all this Neuralink crap going around at the time of recording. I am not excited for whichever person it was that got that in their head.
Oh, someone got it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, all right. Oh.
Anyhow,
Yes.
yeah, it's really just for a little comedic moment.
It is
because
just a good little comedic moment.
Tails. Sonic has this hilarious overreaction here.
Also, we do learn that Dr. Quack, the reason he has that eye patch is because he stepped on a landmine at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Ray almost got blown up with him, but it looks like it missed him.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
But Sonic reunites with his family, and everybody's planning a big party for his return. You know, very happy to see Sally and all, and, well, right now Sally looks fine.
True. Everyone looks like a big old happy family.
Yeah, everyone's being all happy right now.
This would be so good if we didn't know what was coming.
See, the thing is, when I first read these comics, I didn't know this was a slap issue. Even if I did, I didn't know what that meant. So no, yeah, seriously, I was smiling very widely when I was reading it. It was great.
I knew what at least what the slap was going into this comic. You could still enjoy all of this without even with knowing what's going on.
It's cute. It looks nice.
Yeah.
The biggest thing they have to worry about is that paparazzi problem from last time is still here.
God.
Knothole having an actual press now will have some ramifications in the long term. But it's like, can you just not harass private citizens?
The paparazzi doesn't know how to do that.
It's just what they do.
Yeah, it's literally their entire purpose.
Yeah. Well, it's not that big a deal. I do like that we have flicky birds in the background, if you can see on this last panel.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Just, it's more of this, the fact that they hired artists, who were on fan forums and such, that it's people that care about the series' aesthetic and such.
Right. Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. Like, they should have hired more fans.
Yeah, Sonic
at this point.
on his bed has Knights memorabilia and little Choo Choo Rocket figurines up top. And I think that's a Burning Rangers poster in the back.
I think so, yeah.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, Sonic goes to have a nice sleep. He's woken up next day by Mutski, who tells him how happy it is to have Sonic back. And
in English.
This is great.
Yeah, I thought Mutski just learned how to talk. Because my brain didn't put two and two together. He literally has a universal translator.
I know, this happened to me too, where they very clearly mentioned the translator, and then I'm totally caught off guard by the fact that Mutski is able to communicate with him.
Honestly, fun. That's fun. I like that. I like being kind of caught off guard like that.
It's a nice little bit. It doesn't really...
Yeah.
It's not a big plot thing, but it's funny.
Right. I also expect the universal translator will never come up again.
Well, see, here's the thing. I already am impressed that it came up here and now.
I mean, yeah. I expect it to never come up again after the space arc.
Exactly. the fact that the writers thought about that, and they're like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if it translated like Mutski?
It translates literally everyone.
That's great.
No, that's fun. I enjoy that. That is very funny.
Yeah. So Sonic rushes down to the family to say that, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's that thing. It's like, let me tell you about my time in space.
Yeah, let me tell you exactly what happened while I was in space, because holy crap, a lot happened.
Well, and
including some stuff that didn't, but it actually did.
Oh, are you talking about how when they show the Bem and some of the Robians, they show Cybernik from Sonic the Comic?
Well, that's one thing, but I was actually referring to oh yeah. The Bem explained that couldn't deroboticize Jules because he was too injured. They definitely explained that. The writers didn't forget to mention that.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it here now.
That's really a case to me that they just forgot to put that in that issue, and they're like, shit, and shoved it here. Also, yeah, that means I was right.
Yes. I think literally the panel of Mutski saying, well, that solves that, is very telling. Because it's like, oh shit, right, I gotta put that in there.
We gotta shove this in here real quick. Alright, cool. We'll have the dog say, yeah,
line's
cool.
done with have Mutski be the one to conclude it.
What the heck? Also, let me just say The fact that they made the whole story, they're like, oh, the last Robian, all narrated, and like, oh, it's a big mystery. Why is Jules left alone?
And then they kind of explained it away.
Yeah,
excuse me, they forgot to explain it the first time.
Completely abandoned. What the heck? Why did you have to do that really stupid setup if you weren't actually going to follow through in any interesting way?
Because these comics like to disappoint us.
It really feels
I
like
guess so.
It's all right though. We're not totally devoid of follow-ups because, well, so this next part, right? Sonic goes out to find Tails, and he brings the other bit of information he got from Argentium, which is a hologram watch that he gives to Tails, which has a message from his parents.
I swear to God, if they forget about Tails' parents and leave them in another galaxy, I will riot.
Well, I think this is an indication that they're not going to just be gone forever.
Right, that's what I assume, but I expect these comics to disappoint most of the time.
Well, so the thing about this is that we're getting closer to the point where Baller's left. We're not there yet.
Right.
But there's definitely a bunch of stuff here that he obviously intended to follow up on.
Right, he was setting up and then left.
How long it would have taken him to do that, I have no idea. But it's hard for me to blame him when the last 10 issues of this arc of the comics are all written by Penders, and he doesn't give a shit about any of that.
Of course.
But, at least Tails got something. He now gets to know that his parents are alive and safe.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah, that's good.
And I would say that Tails has completed his transformation. Bruce, you've been asking for a while now, is Tails going to get to be smart and all that? He got to fly the plane, hack into the systems, and defeat Adam last time. You can see here that he's got the SA2 Cyclone, although it's colored wrong.
Seems like it, yeah.
So, we get to see Sonic's party. We see Mina here, who seems to be fine, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gone like full pop star.
Yeah.
I just think that it's funny because...
I don't know if it's pop star specifically, but
I was saying the last issue we had Mina that her crush on Sonic does not totally disappear, and I'm remembering now that the only other issue to even mention it is not written by Balders, it's written by Chacon. So I'm thinking he totally did intend for her to have gotten over Sonic at this point.
Interesting.
Well, I'm not entirely sure on that, but we have to wait like a page before I can bring up my point.
Well, I just mean that she didn't go into, like, trauma mode for an entire year the way Sally did.
True. She seems to have gotten over Sonic for the most part.
That's what it seems like, yes.
Yeah, and, well, the party has all of these huge crowd shots where John Gray just doodles a billion characters.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
We got established regulars, we got obscure side characters, we got OCs from the fan forums he used to frequent, I believe.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, that's great.
That's fun.
I don't know. I like when I can look at a page and feel the love for the series coming off of it.
Sure.
Unfortunately, he forgot to draw Sonic's ears when he shakes Max's hand at the bottom left here.
Well, yeah, he is very smooth.
But it's all well and good, we're having fun. And look, clearly things are going to get better, just here in general, because Max says, hey, me and my wife are taking a vacation. We're going to leave you guys. No more Max, that should be good, right? Sally's going to be acting queen, which is, well, she's not part of the action, but she doesn't have anyone to hurt her right now.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
It's very funny that you're pointing this out now, because in retrospect, you're right. They're doing the thing where they set up that everything is good to destroy it.
Right.
But I legitimately did not realize that at the time, and so I was like, oh, it's just a fun, happy,
I can totally see why you wouldn't realize that if you don't know about the slap.
And then
anyhow,
now we can talk about this guy.
Yeah. Here's the Mina bit, and the bit that I'm like, oh, no. The writers are not quite done with Mina yet.
Yeah.
It's very strange, though, because it did seem like the Mina nonsense was done, and she seems to be happy now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing awkward here, although there is a strange look from Sally. And, most importantly, there's this hyper-confrontational new boyfriend of Mina's.
Yes, Ash, her band manager, and he looks like a furry, like a conservative persona. He looks like a rant sona in like a
Conservative.
YouTube video where it's like the problem with forced
Oh,
diversity. But yes,
Jesus.
he is very possessive of her, I assume because he knows that she was into Sonic.
Right, he knows
Hmm.
the background.
And well, he doesn't do anything this issue.
Not yet, but I'm expecting something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I I don't know. I think it's less necessarily that we're not going deep in the love triangle trenches again is the thing. So
That's
I'm
that's the
retconning
main thing.
backwards
That's the
stuff
main
there.
thing I don't want, and as long as that's not going to happen, I will survive.
If Ash hates Sonic,
Mhm.
that's fine. Lots of people hate Sonic.
Yeah, I fucking hate the little
Yeah.
bastard.
He's such a detestable little guy, isn't he?
Just look at him.
Yeah.
Actually, you can't hate Sonic in this issue. Like, look at him. He's adorable.
No, it's true.
Yep. One thing you might not notice is on this next page, we can see that Espio and Vector actually have their heroes' designs now.
Yes, they do. That's a good point.
Oh,
I did not
interesting.
notice that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I think part of it is that they didn't get it as such a massive redesign, and the way that
Right.
artists drew them varied a lot. But Espio's got his ninja gloves and shoes. Vector's got his chain, and
I was wondering what looked off about them in the last few issues.
yeah, it's that they had somewhat modernized designs, but not
Right.
their actual
Not their
design.
actual modern designs. Yeah. Okay.
So Knuckles reestablishes that Eggman has indeed taken Angel Island, which is why they're all here in Knothole.
Right.
So we are going to have to do something about that soon.
Heck yeah.
And, well, I said we're out of the love triangle trenches, and that's mostly true because this isn't really a triangle, but we
Yeah,
reestablished
different
that
relationship drama now.
Tails still has a thing for Fiona, even though he never met the real Fiona, and the real one doesn't really have any relation to him whatsoever.
Yeah,
And
obviously that's how that works.
And, she's
Yes.
too old for him, so...
She's a lot older than him.
Well, here's the thing. It was inevitable, and the
Yeah.
clock started ticking as soon as Fiona had that one random moment with Tails in the Zorda arc.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh, this is happening. And yeah, so here it is. Now they're starting to get into it. I all I can say is it is cute seeing Tails fawn all over Fiona, and Fiona
cute.
doesn't even notice.
It is cute, but also
But
like
it's very foreboding as well.
yeah, I do like Sonic's immediate thought is he seems to not want it to happen again. I like that. That's good writing
Trying
because
to
that's
watch out for
definitely
him.
that's definitely what Sonic would be thinking.
Yeah, I think for me it's just that kid who is into girl that's too old for him. I've seen that so many times. I've watched Gravity Falls.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched Adventure Time, and both of those
Yeah.
are more interesting than whatever Tails and Mina end up having. And I don't like
Fiona,
it there
not
either.
Mina.
It's just, did I say Mina instead of Fiona?
Yeah, you said Mina.
That's hilarious. Anyway,
It's easy to mix up two characters created solely for romantic drama.
True.
Rotor shows off some fireworks he made. This is where he actually says he's not a mission participant, although we kind of knew that already.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
pretty much immediately assumed that.
And it's a little weird that his fireworks is a big graphic of Sonic and Sally kissing, but
You know what?
Yeah.
I did not get that was the fireworks. I
that
thought
wasn't
that
just an
was
artistic
happening in the
representation of something
background.
that was happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a day for happy couples. Obviously, that's why we're
Ah,
not showing
yeah.
Antoine and Bunny here. Instead,
Yeah,
we have to
Bunny's
have
there
Sonic,
and Antoine's just gone.
yeah, instead we just have to have Sonic congratulate Hershey and Jeffrey on their marriage. But
Whatever, I guess.
he is fine. Jeffrey is officially fine. It's not
I'm
going to
sure
be a problem
he is.
ever again.
I find it funny that they're totally cool with this, even though it was like under the worst possible circumstances that they got married.
I mean, I guess they got to
I
get
thought
married
it was kind
anyway.
of a last request type thing. They wanted
It
to.
was. Yeah, it was. Eggman decided, you know what? What's funnier than letting them get married than immediately killing them?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, maybe.
And I say they're not showing Antoine and Bunny. They kind of are, though, because Bunny's
They
like,
show
yeah,
Antoine and Bunny. They just don't show them together.
Yeah, so the explanation right now is that the war, while Sonic was gone, totally changed Antoine. He got, I guess,
Uh,
seriously injured, whatever gave him that scar.
yeah,
They
Um,
don't explain it. I assume they're
yeah,
saving it.
right.
yeah, but
Okay.
That sigh says everything I needed
Yep.
to know.
well, I don't think it does. You're gonna laugh, I think, but yeah.
Oh,
Well, I just
okay.
hate seeing Antoine and Bunny broken up like this. It's like
No,
Of course, it's not
as I
fun.
said, they had the most healthy relationship on the entire planet that we know of, at least.
the
Yep.
yeah, it was stability. Nobody was asking for this.
Right, and then yep, the war gave him PTSD, and he fucking changed.
Yeah, and
I
that
mean,
is
I guess that's not entirely unbelievable.
No, I mean I can
You know,
get it. It just like this is not the way to change Antoine from
it's not the realism I want, and
goofy.
it's if you want to make Antoine a badass, you don't need to remove the things that made him who he was, I think.
Right, you don't have to make him a badass by traumatizing him.
well, yeah. Here's the thing that gets me about this. It's like, the war changed him, and now we don't get along anymore. And like on the one hand, like, okay, that's interesting. That's like tragic or whatever. But then the stupid king here is just like, oh wow, Antoine's new attitude makes
Makes
him
him
an excellent
excellent candidate
candidate
for
for
the
the job.
job.
Which that
Fuck you,
implies that
Max.
Antoine is actually very capable. Which no, that's not realistic at all. How can he be completely functioning but just no longer gets along with Bunny? No, I'm sorry. No, you failed. That
Well,
doesn't
I
work.
mean,
Yeah,
we've
if
established King Max probably is not the best judge of character, also.
Well, true.
yeah,
So he
but I get
thinks
what Lauren's
Antoine's
saying, which is that
serious now, and
if
thus
being if being fucked
he's better for the job.
if being fucked up by war makes it so that you can't even navigate personal relationships, I don't think that should make you a better commander.
No, I know,
No
I get
way.
that.
No
I
way.
agree. What I'm saying is this, to me at least, this is showing once again that Max is a bad judge of character.
And yes, if Max thinks that he's good but he actually sucks, that's funny. Um, but that's
I hope that's the case, but it's a mess either way.
yeah, it's surely the worst breakup that any of the characters will be thinking about by the end of this issue.
Ah,
I
yes.
just realized this was easing us into something, and I
Yeah,
didn't
I guess
notice
it
it.
kind of is.
Hi, Sally.
Yeah.
Hello
Hi,
there.
Sal. It's
So, with her parents leaving and with her in charge, Sally is having doubts about her ability to hold the kingdom together. So here, she asks Sonic to retire from active duty to rule alongside her as acting king.
This is what Sonic has always wanted.
he's already been on a fucking Regency Council and he hated it.
It's true.
He
Sonic,
doesn't like being a bureaucrat.
so it makes sense for Sonic to not want this, obviously.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for him to react in the way that he does, which is, what are you talking about? What? He's utterly confused, and I think that from his perspective, he's been gone a couple weeks, and even though he knows it's been a year for everybody else, he doesn't know what it's
Right.
been like for them. So it makes sense, I think, that the two of them would get upset with each other here, but
Sure.
the way that this plays out, it's like I get that it made people mad, and I'm
Oh yeah, I
over
get it.
being mad about it, but it's whoo boy. So
I think it makes enough sense.
well,
I think
Sally.
half of this makes sense. The other half doesn't.
Well, Sally has been
Okay.
scared for Sonic's safety and has been out of
Right.
the action so long that I think she just doesn't want to be the freedom fighters anymore.
Right.
But of course, that plays out the fact that Sonic's like, well, our group's kind of not a thing anymore, and that sucks. Because Rotor's retired, Antoine's moving away from the group. The Chaotix and Secret Service are doing most of the work at this point, and even then,
Mm-hmm.
Sonic. He beat up Eggman, but still almost died twice, and it took everybody else to save him.
Right.
But Sally is convinced that Sonic alone is not what the world needs, and Sonic says, well, no. So Sally calls him selfish and slaps him in the face.
Ah, yeah. This is why you called it the slap.
This moment got people so angry that they literally formulated a conspiracy theory that Jonathan Gray did all of this himself and that Ballers did not write their breakup.
What?
I've seen what Ballers can do, and this does not seem outside of the realm of
No, it
Ballers.
doesn't. This is not outside of the realm of Baller's power.
No, and the thing is, like, that didn't stop the people from going after Ballers because he did write this. You know, even if the slap's not in the script, he still wrote the breakup, and I don't know, maybe the editor asked for the slap, something like that. But this spawned a harassment campaign at the time that fizzled out, but then the early 2010s happened with shit like Gamergate and all that. And,
Oh,
you know,
God.
at that point, any minority creator in a nerd fandom became, you know, actively questioned about their, like, secret, you know, treachery or hidden intentions. And so when you have a comic written by a black guy and drawn by a different black guy, the first response of shitty dudes online is to either imply they conspired together or try to turn them against each other by saying that one is betraying the other. That literally the modern, like, resurgence of hating John Gray and Ballers was called the SJWs who ruined Sally. It was like a DeviantArt essay.
Fuck off.
And just, that's not how comic production works.
No.
And
if anyone blamed the editors.
And this is something that we've seen. This is something that we we didn't know exactly how this was going to play out, but we knew they were going to keep pulling shit like this in the comics because that's what they do.
Yeah.
So, okay, yes.
I'm sorry for dumping all that on you, but it's like, this moment pisses me off for entirely different reasons than it used to.
Which is
not to say it's a good moment. It's still dumb.
No, it is dumb. It totally is dumb.
It's fair to bring up all that surrounding context, if you will, with relation to this moment, but I do feel like that's a little out of the scope of what I at least was prepared to talk about anyway. So
you go ahead then.
I'm not going to respond to that and just say, yeah, Sonic fans be Sonic fans, fans be fans.
Probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, this doesn't really... What you said about, this isn't that surprising, honestly. Like, it's not in character for Sally, I think. As you said, yes, Sonic reacts completely reasonably here. Sonic is in character. It's Sally who really isn't in character here, because she should know full well that Sonic would never go for this. I could see her maybe asking in desperation. I don't believe... It's very weird, because when Sally first saw Sonic, it seemed like, she was happy. She's like, oh, I knew you'd come back. And, maybe she was putting on a good face. But they've just gone completely over the deep end here now. And, just very... very explosive reaction, just for the sake of stirring up drama again. On an unrelated note, I find it hilarious that there's a character in the audience who's just eating cookies as this is all going down. Like, oh yeah, this is good stuff.
This is some entertaining shit, man.
Actually, that's an old forum meme, because if you look close at his box of cookies, it says Drano cookies. I don't know what the reference was, because the forums that these people were on are all gone now. I could maybe tweet John Gray and ask him, but, like, drinking Drano? Making cookies out of it? I don't know what's up with that, but yes. And this is the other thing, is that, okay, I don't think any artist would have had a good time making this, but I do think that John Gray's cartoonish artwork is probably a bad fit for this kind of scene.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
And yes, I think that this is too much for Sally. I think that clearly she's lashing out because, like, internally she must understand that, like, this is the way Sonic's gonna be, but it's not good for her. It doesn't make her look good. I don't think it's character assassination like some have said, but
no, I can see why people would call it character assassination. I don't think it is, though.
I mean, this is the trauma bucket boiling over, and for the next many issues, Sally's gonna be in a very weird state, hopping between some of her old characterization and being super belligerent. It's not a great look, and it pains me, because what you should do with this is, again, blame the fucking parents. And again, maybe Ballers plan to do that at some point. but we never got there, and by the time Flynn got here, everybody was so tired of this that he just hit the reset button on her character, basically.
Right. I mean, my biggest thing coming from Sally's perspective is only really two things. I think we've already established that all these characters would have some form of PTSD.
Makes sense.
They're all traumatized, and Sally, I don't want to say she's had it the worst, but she's definitely not doing the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
And I think she's like barely been holding. She was already barely holding together before Sonic got whisked off to another galaxy, and then he comes back, and I think putting on a good face or a good mask.
Yeah.
To
at this point,
it's fine. The mask has come off, and
she just breaks.
Yeah, this is more. This is less character assassination. This is more just like the character just breaking.
They're just stretching it a bit then until it
Yeah.
snaps, I guess.
Yeah, this was Sonic saying that he doesn't want to become even just a temporary ruler, which I mean maybe if Sally had emphasized like this isn't permanent.
It's like
or said this isn't permanent, and Sonic still said no. Maybe I could view better from Sally's perspective, but for the most part.
Well, this is the problem. This has been the problem the entire time, is that we've seen so much of Sally's existence being suffering, but we've never gotten a break from it to introspect it all. We've never had her ask herself, why do I feel so shitty all the time?
That's the problem. Like, if we had that moment, we wouldn't have gotten a satisfactory response.
Yeah, the problem is that the obvious answer, these comics will never go there, or it seems like it will. They'll never go there.
The comics are never going to say at least a big part of the problem is her relationship with at least her dad.
Well, these comics are dead set in redeeming Max over pointing out that he's terrible.
Well, and in that, even without that, I don't know if Gabri is still the editor at this point. I think he is. His whole thing is, just keep throwing ideas at the wall for how to get people reading, and if that means big exploitative moments, the slap being here is not just incidental. This is the point of this comic. Getting Sonic and Sally to break up isn't about what makes sense for their characters. It's about what keeps people compelled to read. And people, even if we're not, clearly it did for a lot of people. And so the fact that people
I can understand why this would get people to keep reading, because it
made it a success, ironically.
Sure.
Internally, you can write a story like this that justifies a lot of this stuff within the characters, and while I agree Sally's out of character in this moment, I think that there's a version of this scene that exists where she's not out of character. That is to say, you could make it like that. But the thing is, no matter how you write it, this isn't what I want Sonic the fucking Hedgehog to be.
Well, we've already talked about the relationship drama that's been there.
It's just more of that.
Since the beginning.
I know, but it's like
it's just not feeling like not even what we want out of Sonic the Hedgehog, what we want out of these comics.
Yeah, it's just, even if you do well-done teen romantic drama, please leave that in a different series, because Sonic is about being wild, fun, and free. That's why even at the worst moments of Amy being overbearing, there is clearly, it's kind of a joke, right?
I mean, yeah, we joked about it. We talked about how bad Amy was in Heroes in Battle, but at the end of the day, we also kind of laughed about it because
Heroes is silly.
Heroes is silly, and she's like psychotic in Battle.
Yeah. It's never to be taken seriously.
Exactly, it's never taken seriously. Whereas this is clearly, to me at least, supposed to be taken seriously.
100%.
Yeah,
like they want you to be like, oh shit, Sonic and Sally just broke up.
Well, and so I am taking it seriously. I understand what you're putting on the table. I wish you were putting something different on the table. Please stop doing that.
Stop putting a fucking flaming turd on my plate and give me a nice steak.
Yeah,
it's funny because I'd like to point out again that they didn't need to do this to keep my interest. Like,
no,
up until the Antoine part, this was a great issue. I had no problems with it. It was just simple fun.
If this had just been like, let's celebrate Sonic being back and helping to save the world again.
It's just funny that they felt the need to
I mean,
have an
I think that's the
explosive
thing.
cliffhanger.
I think that's the thing. They wanted the cliffhanger. They wanted the big thing to be like, oh shit, stuff's happening now. Oh no, relationship drama, because that's what we all like.
They should have had Sonic say yes, but then before he leaves, Max says, no, Sonic doesn't get to be king. He should be out there risking his life, and then Sally slaps Max in the face.
As I said before, these comics
almost would have made more
are
sense.
never going to do that.
Yeah, no. It's what I said earlier. It's like we want a resolution out of these comics that we would never have gotten.
Yeah, so that's the slap, everybody. Haters, shut the fuck up. Please stop being weird, but also this comic is still bad.
I can appreciate the first, 2/3 of it.
The first half of this story is cute.
Yeah,
right.
And
also, don't harass people on social media no matter what they write. Like,
no.
we talk shit about Penders, but we're not, going after him, you know?
Yeah, we're not telling anyone to go after him.
He's just an asshole who writes comics we don't like.
Right. Yeah. At this point, why should we care?
Speaking of which...
look, more Penders comics we don't like.
5 years later, in transit, Ken Penders and Stephen Butler. Knuckles quickly returns to base when he realizes Rutan and Salma overheard his conversation with Rotor. The Brotherhood of Guardians spies on Lee and Da to make sure she doesn't learn anything damaging. So yeah, Knuckles' robot eye detects the two kids running away.
Why would it?
The robot eye.
I guess, yeah, it's a robot eye. It's a plot device. Oh boy, more plot devices.
And,
so actually, on the subject of the robot eye, Rotor is like, well, that's very handy. That must be the reason that you kept the robot eye instead of just getting a cloned eye replacement. I don't know if there's a deeper significance to this, but I have an interesting theory here. I think that perhaps Knuckles kept the robot eye because, remember, he was very supportive of the Dark Legion. And he wanted to sort of have a sign.
To see their integration.
Of allegiance with the Dark Legion, because it seems pretty clear to me that things are pretty hunky-dory now. So that's what I think is up with that, although I'm not sure.
That is cool. Knuckles crafted himself as the ultimate symbol of cooperation between a Kidnapped and the Dark Legion.
If we had a better writer, I could totally see that being the case.
Yeah. I do like the implication that Rotor's just like, oh, he never got a lab-grown replacement, so he wanted a better GPS.
You know what? I don't know. I feel
You're all set to join the Borg? Is that what you're telling me?
I would take a cyber eye if it can do shit like, fucking overlay GPS over my vision. As long as it's not too intrusive. Though I have ADD, as I mentioned earlier, so that might just make me have an accident.
Anywho, Knuckles goes to Haven 2. I guess they needed a new one. And
here's the grandpas.
Sure.
Yep, the Brotherhood are still here, fucking around like nothing ever happened. Except Saber, who is really old and in a wheelchair now.
He's the new Hawking.
I guess so.
Literally.
Even though he's I don't know, the third youngest Guardian, technically?
They needed another older grandpa.
Knuckles greets him by kissing him on the forehead, which is a little odd.
He's, I don't know.
Age is weird with the Guardians, because half these guys are his grandfathers, but,
and most of them barely look older than, Locke.
They also berate Knuckles for essentially promising Julie Sue that he wouldn't spy on his own family.
This is so on brand. The Guardians have not changed at all in 25 years.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's because of Landa and Dimitri, but it cannot be overstated how much every complaint that anyone had about Locke was totally wasted on Penders. And yeah, so even though Rotor and Knuckles, I feel like they didn't really talk about anything that's if that were public knowledge, what would
Rotor
actually
mentioned
people might panic, but then why are they scared about Rutan and Lee and Da having that info?
I don't know. Maybe
are you kidding me? The Guardians are like, oh, we have to do everything from the shadows. No one can know anything.
Paranoid, then yeah,
they are 100% paranoid.
Yeah, A, they're paranoid. B, Lee and Da can't be trusted with literally anything.
That is also true.
She isn't, though. She does not get the information that Rutan overheard.
That is true. She basically just scolds him.
Yeah, this is the weird bit, because it seemed pretty clear that Rutan was like, I'm gonna go tell this information to Liandar, but no, that's not what he does at all. So, like, what?
No, instead this is part of this weird subplot where he doesn't really want to. I guess he just doesn't want to reveal he has a girlfriend.
I mean,
I guess
that is some parents are,
That doesn't seem like it would be Liandar's priority, but
no, it doesn't. She definitely seems like she would not care in this situation.
and then it's like, all right, well, I'll take this girl home, I guess. And I don't know. We just kind of end with Cobra and Rotor being like, I guess they didn't do the things that we were worried about.
Yeah, but there's this really funny line because Cobra is like, "Oh, gotta be careful of Liandar, really screw things up." And Rotor's like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure Sonic would agree because he hates echidnas. Is Sonic racist now?"
But he says he isn't exactly renowned for his fondness of echidnas, especially the Guardian. So that's meant to be like the cliffhanger because it's meant to be like, oh, something happened between Sonic and Knuckles during this 25-year time skip. Maybe they had a bad breakup.
Oh, thought it was half correct. Nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the end of the Slap issue. Totally unremarkable 25 years later story for that
As
big
usual.
discussion.
As we've had so far.
Yeah. Well, let's go into Sonic number 135 for our final issue of tonight. I can't believe it's you, but it can't be. You died. Oh my gosh, there's going to be such a pivotal character revival, a secret dead character. I wonder who it could be.
Oh my gosh, this is one of the most important issues in the entire timeline.
Clearly.
Well, and here's a hint. This is Agent of Knothole, drawn by Ron Lim and written by Romy Chacon, who's written, like, what, 2 things?
Something like that.
But Sonic heads to the dangerous town of Greenstone, looking for an ally of the Acorn Kingdom previously thought to be dead. However, both of them are attacked by some mysterious Robians.
Ooh.
So, yeah, we start with Sonic in a shady bar, and
He's in a shady bar, all right.
There's a lot of narration. I don't know
around.
if there's any point to most of it.
No, it's just sort of generic. I'm a spy.
Which,
here in this place, this rough and tough place.
Which is just Sonic wanting to sound cool.
Anyway,
yeah, it's just an interesting intro. But we
cut about
to
this interstitial page, aren't you?
100% am, because this raises a lot of questions. First of all, obviously, what's Eggman talking about here? They're talking about some weird experiment or whatever. But more importantly, Snively is metal again.
Yeah, he's roboticized.
What the heck?
Makes me think Eggman is also? Well,
no, because I'm pretty sure that's like against the rules.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's what immediately makes me think that this is a story out of order.
Yes, so our main tip-off to this is that it's a Romy Chacon story. And as you can blatantly see on the next page, the guy who's alive is Tommy Turtle again. And the first Tommy Turtle story was one that was written before they got destroyed. And now this one is one that was written before they got de-roboticized. So
and Snively disappeared.
And Snively disappeared. So you have arbitrary robot Snively here, which I think their explanation for this is that they just call this a metal Snively that isn't actually Snively.
Wait, so Eggman just made a metal Snively?
That's insane.
He missed him so much he just made a new one.
I honestly will accept that. That's bonkers, though.
Yeah.
And our other indication of this is, well, okay. First, we have Sonic reunite with Tommy. They're just doing their whole routine saying, I survived the explosion.
For X reason.
What a revelation this is.
Yeah.
And then they are interrupted by the other indicator that this was written way earlier, which is that the Goon Squad are back and robots again.
Right.
So this is what they're talking about before the Goon Squad even shows up. Because Tommy's like, I got some intel because, like, Eggman's figured out how to re-roboticize creatures again, and people have been like turning into robots again. And so, right off the bat, as soon as Tommy shows up, I'm like, "Why, are you serious? This is what we're doing?" And I now know that this was out of order. Right. But the fact that they decided to do it this way is bad.
So stupid, yeah.
Because this just screws up the whole. I was complaining last issue about how they handled the BEM's de-roboticization of everyone.
Right.
And now you're just making it not count.
And worse. Yeah,
Yeah.
now they're just negating it. We went through all that nonsense to get rid of all the Robians, but no. Now Eggman just has robotization 2.0 that works better, and Robians are well. That's going to be.
That's what it is in this story.
That is what it is stated as now.
Right.
I know there's a little more to that later, but the point is they just did it again better, so it overrides it, and so, yeah, the whole BEM plot doesn't matter anymore, I guess. Great.
It doesn't this issue, and yeah, so clearly these Robian versions of the Goon Squad are meant to be the same ones we saw in the first Tommy issue.
Right.
But they tried and failed to alter dialogue to fit the story, and, well, this issue has another story that'll be more patchwork to explain this, but it's a mess, and they should not have done this. They should have either scrapped this story or completely rewritten it. Because, I mean, that other story, like, I can't imagine that this was already drawn, so why didn't you just rewrite it? Because, like, this is Lim's better-looking style that he's had for the past couple issues, where it's not as weird. Sonic doesn't even have that much droopy quill in this story.
No, it mostly looks fine.
I assumed it was already drawn. Yeah, if it wasn't, yeah, that's ridiculous. That's insane. What the heck?
And it's like, it's not like this story has anything crazy going on in it. He just beats up the robots. They try to get Tommy, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. But Tommy is a very important character. It's all about his story.
He's truly the main character of these comics.
Well, and that is the single bit of intrigue that we get here, which is that Sonic's fighting them, Tommy runs into the other room, he thinks that the other one's going there with him, but once he gets to the other room, Tommy's totally alone. And it's like, what? What happened? And he says, I reprogrammed them to run away, but we can see broken remains of Mecha Drago in the last panel, so I don't know if that means he destroyed them?
That's kind of what it
I'm
seems
sure
like.
It's going to be explained later, but yeah, there's something weird going on here.
Right.
Yeah, well, and that is both made better and worse by the second story, which is Dr. Robotnik in a story that's not as good as the other story that started that way. This is Anonymous, Romy Chacon and Art Mawini, wherein Dr. Eggman and Adam inspect mysterious Robian versions of Sleuth, Drago, Predator, Sergeant, Flying, and Lightning.
The Goon Squad.
Seemingly roboticized and gifted to the Empire by an unknown source. So this is our patchwork, is that Eggman did not actually roboticize them.
Right. We have a new element to the roboticization.
Yeah.
Why is this what they do? Why is it that when they deal with mass changes to the robotization status quo, I know, you just have some random unknown force do it. It's as simple as that. So you say that a random unknown force did it, and then you're cool, and then you can just follow up on it later, and no one will mind.
You follow up on it in like 10 issues or whatever.
That works. Yeah.
Clearly, because we liked it so much the last time.
It's very dumb, and the fact that these 6 Robians are gifted to Eggman by this Anonymous, who has scrubbed himself from Adam's memory, and can beat the BEM's control somehow, just gives Eggman these 6 robots, and that's it? ? Anonymous does other stuff, but this is the only time that he roboticizes anybody. So it's like, just don't include the story, just throw it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I already thought that the bit in the main story was confusing enough. This makes it more confusing. This doesn't patch it in any way. Why couldn't... I guess they just didn't want to deal with Eggman being able to roboticize again.
Better to not completely undo that plot point, but still just don't do this in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's just a better thought process.
Yeah. Also, notably absent is the friendly little robot elf of Snively, because he clearly wasn't meant to be there. And actually, yeah, him being there at all is more evidence that maybe the first story was drawn earlier.
I thought it had to be, because I thought it had to be, because you otherwise you could just change that. Just make Eggman talking to himself, or Adam, who cares? Yeah, honestly, the biggest crime of this story is that it's just not an interesting story, because the other patchwork solo Eggman story was a joy. I loved it. This is just boring. What the
Yeah.
Before we had an exhibition of Eggman and Snively's personality in a location that we had never seen before. This is Eggman being confused and Adam being boring and just not being able to do anything.
Right.
And more importantly, the story is just serving the plot and nothing is happening. At least in the other story, there was some action going on. They were running around, hijinks, but it's just talking. It's in the most boring way possible.
Yeah.
All I can say is it showcases Adam's personality a little bit more. The banter is somewhat amusing, but that's all I can really give this.
I think, yeah, pretty much.
Well, we're like 2.5 hours into this, so I'm not going to waste any more words on it.
Waste
Justin
some
Gabri
words
is
on...
a bad editor, and if he wrote this, then he's also a bad writer.
Shots fired, okay.
I have no problems that... Okay, Mobius 25 years later, dealing with the devil, which I guess means Lee and Da. Penders and Butler. Lee and Da and Dimitri argue while Rutan acts really awkward about what happened last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's questioning her son about what was going on, and you'd think, oh, she's going to question what he heard from Knuckles and Rotor. No, she's just upset that he was trying to make out with the girl in a public park, I guess. I don't know. I have nothing to say about this. I like that Dimitri comes to his defense. I like that he's like, let young men be horny, but it's just an excuse, because it's mainly just say, oh yeah, he never gave up control of the Legion to Lee and Da.
Right. Yeah, so here's the thing. That is a very important plot detail right there. I was confused as to what the heck Leonda is doing here. The thing is, I would be like, oh, this is interesting. What's going on here? But I just know the Penders is not going to explain this, or at least not in great detail.
Yeah.
So I have to grasp at whatever I can get here. Clearly, yeah, Leonda is not on good terms with Dimitri still. So how
lives with her?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I think at this point Dimitri's more like a fucking pet.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like having a hamster rolling around.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we do get exposition here that Dimitri says that Eggman was the one who put his head in a bubble.
Right.
Oh boy, yes. So once again, Penders just has to one up the Sonic canon.
Right.
I was wondering if they would mention what happened to Eggman here.
Right.
Well, here's our explanation. Like
Eggman's empire was crumbling.
Totally pathetic. He was just like, oh, Dimitri, save me. And Dimitri's like, no. What the heck? We've never interacted. And then Eggman put him in a ball or something. I don't know. But yeah, really? Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but in fairness, if we have to do it, I'm okay, because I actually would rather keep Dimitri around, and I think that on Baller's side of the story, he seems to be operating under the idea that Dimitri is just, like, dead. Like, we're not going to see him for any of Baller's comics.
Mm.
So, here's the thing. I do not at all mind Dimitri being here. He's honestly hilarious, and I like him here. But I don't like that the dynamic between him and Leonda has not changed at all in 25 years, and there's no explanation for that. What the heck?
Leonda's design hasn't changed in 25 years. She's wearing the same coat that she is as a... Actually, I have no idea what her age is, now that I'm saying it.
Yeah, she hasn't changed at all, which, I mean, that's the problem we had with most of the echidnas so far.
Yeah, because Julie Sue is, like, the same age as Knuckles, so teenager. I have no idea if Leonda is an adult in the current timeline.
I assume she is.
I think so.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and it's dumb that their dynamic hasn't changed. I like Dimitri as, like an old crotchety commentator, but the fact that she's still playing second fiddle to him, she should be trying to kill him at this point.
Yeah.
Honestly,
we suspected that she was doing that a few episodes back.
Right.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's basically just this entire family grouching at each other without much actual forward momentum.
Great. More Pender stories that go nowhere.
We do finally get Rutan spilling the beans that he overheard Knuckles and Rotor saying something's bad was happening and only the King and Knuckles can fix it, but we don't know anything else. Which Leonda takes as an excuse to video call her sister, and are they just Are they just your grouchy neighbors?
This is funny. Like, sure. I mean, yeah, in this supposedly completely happy future, I guess you can do that. You just give them a ring. Why
I
not?
guess, yeah.
It's surprisingly straightforward, but I guess it works.
I don't know. I feel like they should still really, really hate each other,
I don't know why they wouldn't.
even if the
I'm
battle's done.
sure. I mean, I guess I haven't read the next story, but I'm sure that I would assume that they're not going to get along very nicely when this
Yeah.
conversation continues.
It's a question of language, you know. If Leon Dog calls her up and is like, "Hey, dick ass, I need your help, jerk," that's don't write that in the issue. I don't know. Also, I want to note here that on forums, Penders was adamant while this arc was running. He said, "I won't turn Julie Sue into a stereotypical housewife." It only takes a single look at this image to see how much of a lie that was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's it. We're done. That's the end of everything. We're done for tonight. That's all the
Jesus.
issues. So, what do we think? Home had some good action, but feels like a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
The slap was not good for anybody's character, and John Gray deserved a better thing to start on as an artist.
Yes.
He nearly quit the series because of the response that he got.
I can't blame him.
Yeah.
Romy Chacon and Justin Gabri are both not good at their jobs, and retooling a story that relies on roboticization concepts that are no longer in effect is stupid to put in your comic right after you reversed all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ken Penders is Ken Penders.
Yeah. He hasn't changed.
I think we've hit all our bases.
Well, that's a shame, but it's alright. Next time on Deep Dive Zone, we are going to have, well, frankly, some more comics like this, but we will get into the start of my favorite arc in the series. Or at least my favorite arc of this part of the series. So that's something to look forward to. But that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Sorry that I'm talking so slow. It's a lot to take in. If you like this episode, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach us at any of the links in the link tree in the description. I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And take care.